pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with recognition of visitors. Carol's here first.
I only got one quick thing. Then I want to
Are you
say-
sure it's quick? Because if not, I'll put you at the end.
Oh, it's gonna be,
Okay, all right.
okay, January 3rd, I came to the select board meeting. I had a concern over the way a meeting was being warned. Well, I watched a video 2 days later, about 20 minutes after I left. Somebody made an announcement that I owe a $200 and something garbage bill.
And that was me.
It was
I'll own up to
In
that.
public?
Yeah,
Oh,
So,
I said it, you were at the
okay.
meeting.
No, I wasn't. Was I? I would have remembered that.
yeah, you
It's
said
public
we're not
record.
discussing it.
Oh, I did. Okay, yes, I did.
So, Tim, why would you do something like
Well,
that?
it's a public record.
Well,
And you were,
you're so smart, why don't you look at the bill from December 27th? I owed $84.
well,
I come in, I went to the town clerk asking, where do I owe all this money? She goes, Carl, you owe $84.
Okay.
And
well, I was referring to the list that I have right here. And it doesn't have a date that it's printed on.
so why are you giving information that you don't know is true? Right here's the bill, Tim. Look at it, read it.
I was responding to the fact that you said people should be cut off.
You were
Wait,
trying to make me
wait.
look stupid for coming in and.
I wasn't
catching
trying to
on
make
your-
you look stupid. What you said was that people should be cut off of their trash service if they miss a quarter of payments.
I did.
And you have $252 on here. Carl and Marina, the fourth one down.
What's the date on it?
There is no date on it.
So why are you broadcasting? I got the bill right here, Tim.
That's okay.
Why are you
I'm glad that you're paying the bills.
Why are you a fucking ass and bringing somebody's name about public information? Right here's the bill. The town clerk mailed it to me. Show me where I
And
owe
what's the date of that?
Right there's the bill. That was last bill. It was mailed
Okay.
out.
All I'm doing is I'm referring to the list that we were referring to for the past due during that meeting.
I'm sure, Tim, if you go through it, everybody had a bill.
I got a
We
bill.
just interrupted and we didn't read
It's-
anybody else's name. We only read Carl's.
Yes, because I came and
Because
brought
you
up
came
a
to the
point,
meeting.
and he wanted to make me look like an
And
idiot,
we
that I
saw.
owed money, that I didn't owe the money. Right
You
here-
don't owe the money.
And right here is what I paid. Look at the bill.
I don't have
I like
to.
to stamp it right on your forehead.
I try, that's okay, you can do that.
Why would you come to, you advertise?
It's a public record, we talk about a lot of people.
Tim, if I don't owe it, why are you bringing it up?
Because the list that I have,
I could go
I'm
get a list
working-
where you owe the
I'm
town
working-
for thousands of dollars.
That's right, and now I owe them nothing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
But-
do I-
Maybe restate it now. I've got the record, you know? I don't know. Just.
It doesn't need to correct anything, it's just, okay, Carl paid his, Carl paid his trash bill.
Let Mandy talk. No,
That
I
was
saying-
months ago.
Okay,
Well, I'm.
My apologies.
Maybe
You
an
can just
apology
come
is
in
still-
here and publicly
Yes.
shame anybody
How
in
about an
Richford that you
apology
want.
from the board? I would apologize.
No, he did it, the
I
board
know
did
he
it.
I just said I would apologize for bringing that up then. I don't know what the date of the list is,
Then why would you bring it up if you don't know?
because it's the document that I was working off of.
Well, maybe that's why Richford's in the situation it is. People like you don't look at dates and bring up current information.
Okay, Mr. Weatherby, I accept.
Okay, you're good. Are you happy?
Why happy?
No, I know you're not. You shouldn't have phrased it that way. Are you want to move on to another topic, or do you have anything else to say?
I have nothing else to say about it. Obviously, he thinks it's perfectly fine digging up the past.
Okay, then next, let's see, I think you all came in together, so I'll start with Joanne.
I just come to harass Scott a little bit, because I haven't seen him for so long.
Harass me.
It's been 2 years, Scott, yeah. You heard anything on the culvert?
We put it out for bids, we got bids on it. That's something we gotta talk about tonight here as a board to see what we're gonna do with, see if we're gonna accept the bid. we're waiting, we're hoping FEMA is gonna jump on board and pay for part of this with mitigation to make it a little bit better. But that's up in the air, so either the town is gonna have to jump on board and decide they may want to pay the bills themselves and accept the bids that came in, or the cheapest bid, or whatever bid they decide to accept, and move forward with
Still
it.
going for this year, right?
If we move, what we're in the intentions of doing, if we move forward with it and show good intent that we're gonna follow through with it, then we're hoping FEMA will jump on board and help pay the cost. That's the plan.
Thanks, Laura.
There's no guarantee with FEMA jumping on board. They're the ones that suggested to put it into mitigation and try to get it through, passed, and we're just waiting. Government bureaucracy, I guess.
She's been hearing that for several years, haven't you?
And I just hate to have it flood again.
Wally,
I'm just here as a visitor.
Linda,
Visitor.
you wanna say anything else?
Oh, I'm a visitor now.
Now you're a visitor.
I'm just here because I'd like to address the letter that I sent to the select board when that comes up.
When what comes up? I haven't got a letter.
Okay,
Do you have one you can?
I have one.
Have other people got it?
I've got one.
Well, how come I haven't got it?
I don't know, Kylie gave it to me today when I came in with the
You
payroll.
have a copy.
I have my copy. Do you want me
I'll
to
give
read
back
it?
to you, but are you gonna read it out loud?
Yep.
Okay, well, I can listen. I got ears, I can listen.
Either way, you wanna read it or do you want it read out loud?
Did you email it?
Nope, I gave it to Kylie.
Oh, I didn't get a copy either.
Which way do you want it to be? You want it read by me or do you want it read
Is it gonna
by?
take a long time? You wanna go through with people first? You wanna do it now? It's up to you.
Anybody?
You have a right to read any letter to us you want. We're not
Go
gonna
for it.
censor it.
Okay,
Go for it.
everybody okay with me reading?
Yep.
Okay. February 2nd, 2022, to the members of the select board, we're writing to express concern around placement of an item on the ballot. Recently, citizens came to the select board requesting that opt-in for cannabis be placed on the ballot. The select board voted yes, this should be placed on the ballot for voters to determine. Shortly after, Linda Collins, select board chair, determined out of a formal select board meeting to overturn this decision without notifying other members of our governing body. This resulted in her requiring a petition, which is out of alignment with several Vermont laws and undue work for petitioners. Following is a detailed timeline of events. On January 20th, 2022, the select board was approached to provide information around the opt-in option for cannabis. The select board motioned, it was seconded, and unanimously voted in favor of having this item on the ballot. At this time, Irish was asked why she had not petitioned. She responded that she had been ill and that the deadline for petitioning had passed, and the select board retains the right to put an item on the ballot past this time. This had also been communicated via email prior to this meeting. The afternoon of Tuesday, January 25th, the town clerk received email correspondence from a VLCT attorney, at which time the town clerk reached out to both Irish and Collins. Due to this, Irish began researching law and re-examining the process. It appears at this time Collins made the abrupt decision that a petition would need to be filed by Thursday, January 27th, 2022 to make it into the warning. Irish disagreed with this and explained her rationale, yet printed the petition following her instruction from select board chair to voter/petitioner. Irish spoke with Justin Shepherd and other residents, and it was decided to go ahead with the petition. Shepherd, serving on planning, contacted co-planning and select board member Sherry Paquette, who was caught off guard by the overturning of a select board decision. Through this process, it became evident that the only select board member who had made this decision was Linda Collins, select board chair. This decision overturned the decision that the select board members had made at the previous meeting. The overt abuse of power resulted in violations of 17 VSA 2642A3A and 1 VSA 172. On January 27, 2022, this petition containing over 100 signatures obtained in less than 48 hours was denied by the town clerk, Kylie Dusso, following Vermont law due to the deadline. We're concerned that Collins overlooked Vermont law regarding petition, despite Irish discussing petitioning law in Vermont at the most recent select board meeting and through email. We're further concerned that through her actions, Collins single-handedly acted on behalf of the municipality of Richford to exceed the authority granted to it by the law to regulate cannabis establishment by placing undue and more stringent requirements on the ballot item in direct violation of 7 VSA 863. Most concerning to petitioners is that Collins determined it her right to overturn a board decision. On behalf of the voters of Richford, we file this formal complaint against Linda J. Collins, Select Board Chair. We ask members of the Select Board to consider this egregious action and the results of this action. Further, we ask you to seek a solution to prevent further occurrences of unreasonable use of power impacting both elected officials and voters, and an established plan to assure that Vermont law will be upheld at the local governing level. And then I have all the laws in question.
If we voted to put it on the ballot, it's on the ballot, right? And Kylie and I had a conversation because she contacted the state whether it had to have a petition or not. She called me and said it didn't, but I said, well, tell Levi she doesn't need to get the signatures. She said, well, she's already started. That's all I remember.
Okay, that's not the message that I was
Well,
given by our
that's not the message I got
counselor.
either, so I'm gonna have to find out because the other person is not here.
Okay.
But when she called me and we discussed it back and forth that it needed to be a petition or not, she called the state and one guy said yes, one guy said no, and I can't remember which was which. One was the Garrett Baxter and one was the LCT and one was, probably the Secretary of State. And I think they had different, and she called me and I said, well, then she doesn't need a petition, and she said, well, it's already gone out and get me the names.
Okay, I was told that you determined that we needed a petition.
Well, usually you do, by a certain date, but with, I guess with COVID, you don't need to. I didn't make that like law or anything, we voted to have it on the ballot, didn't we?
Yeah.
Do you have the minutes
If
there?
I could, I have the minutes from January 20th. And just as a side to this, the select board can, as the legislative body, can decide to put anything they want on the ballot. It doesn't need a petition, it doesn't need approval of,
Right.
other than the board.
Right.
At the January 20th meeting, a request from guests to put cannabis on the, retail cannabis on the ballot in March, motion by Mr. Green, second by Ms. Paquette, as shall the town of Richford permit the operation of cannabis retailers that are licensed by the state of Vermont under Act 164, beginning in October 2022, such sales also being subject to any city ordinances or regulations the town of Richford may lawfully adopt. And that motion was passed 4-0. And the way it will appear on the ballot is related to the same language as last year, and this was recommended by the state to not phrase it along those lines, but I know the warning's in here somewhere.
PJ?
Okay. And on here it says, shall the town authorize cannabis retailers in town pursuant to 7 VSA 863?
That was phrased last year as well?
That's how it was phrased last year, and that's how both VLCT and the state told us that's how it should appear on the ballot, because it references the state statute that allows it. And that's all I know about it.
I think the more concerning thing as a petitioner in this scenario is that going to the VLCT Select Board Handbook, Chapter 2, Part D, Select Board Powers and Liability, individually versus as a board, as mentioned in the introduction, a Vermont Select Board may serve at various times legislative, executive, and judicial functions. However, no individual Select Board member is given authority to serve in any of these roles alone. Vermont law gives authority to select boards and not to individual Select Board members. An individual select person has no more authority to take action on behalf of a town than any other resident. As a petitioner, it doesn't feel okay to me that one
I
Select
didn't
Board member
overturn
could
it. It's right
overturn
here.
that.
It's right here. I don't understand. It's in the book,
I think the issue is,
yes.
there was email traffic that went between you, Kylie, and Levi. And in that email traffic, it was implied that there needed to be a signed petition.
Well,
I
there usually
understand.
is, yeah.
I understand what you're saying, that there might have been a follow-up conversation,
I'm sure there was. We
but
had someone on the phone.
if something starts in email, it should be completed in email. That way there's a traffic, it doesn't appear that this second conversation was communicated downward very
Oh,
far.
I think she called me.
But it
And
doesn't,
she told me I know, I realized that. and
did it
she-
get, I'm saying it didn't get out to the citizens.
Well, Well, the letter wouldn't have either, that was private, email.
But Levi would have been party to that,
Right,
or you
right.
would have been party to it,
Yeah, or I would
to
have-
provide that clarifying guidance.
I was,
Because this person, Levi, was in on that email, three-way email traffic.
Why isn't the rest of the select board involved in any types of emails
Well,
like
I
that?
didn't make a decision, I'm telling you.
Well,
We voted, it's on the ballot.
yeah, but
It
the
was-
decision, but the decision
Then the question was, could we do it that way? So Kylie called the two places I just said, called me back, and I said, well, she doesn't need to get a petition then, and she says, well, she's already started it. That's the last I heard of this.
I was told
see,
that
there's
I
where the
needed
chain
to.
is
Well,
broken.
I told her you didn't need a petition, and she said, well, she's already started it, so let her finish it. That is exactly what she
So
said.
if you go to vermont.gov, there's a section on petitioning your local government, and then there's petitions for annual meetings as well. And they clearly outline what the expectations are around that. I just think that we need to be careful as a community to make sure that everyone has, that our power is equally dispersed and it's not lying in one
We voted to
person's
put it on the
hands.
ballot, it's on the ballot.
I would agree with that, but the undue pieces that we had to go through, like,
We thought you needed a petition, so did the town clerk.
But we shouldn't
found
think
out
that.
you didn't, but you had already started it.
No,
Her-
there-
Her question, her answer to me was, well, she's already started.
so that's
it.
absolutely not true. You guys
Oh,
didn't think
okay.
I needed a petition, and I can tell you that because I let you all know in emails that the time of petitioning had passed. We had this conversation at the meeting.
Right.
And so what I did is I went through and I looked up at the laws again, which I'd already done. Which is what our select board should be
Well, it
doing,
was
or
my
they
job
should
to
be
look up
entrusting
that law,
people.
which is what I did with Kylie after they voted. My job was to find out if it was legal.
But shouldn't you have known it was legal before you voted?
It
Isn't
wasn't
that,
in on time, that's for, COVID has made everything different.
That's
But
not
it
true.
that's
does-
not true at all, I agree with
Okay,
Levi.
whatever.
Well, it's not whatever, we have to come,
Well, the conclusion
terms
was
with this,
I
we have to
didn't
figure
ban
this
it,
out.
it's in the thing, and.
The petition had nothing to do with COVID. COVID played no part in this.
no, it didn't.
It's 47 days prior to, the select board has the right to put it on at any time, right, Tim? That you had said that.
it's absolutely, no petition is required if the legislative body, the select board, decides to put an article on the ballot. And that happened at the January 20th meeting.
I did not initiate the phone call to change it.
But did you make a decision?
I did
Because,
not, you don't make a decision outside of a board meeting.
okay, so Kylie, our town clerk would agree that there was no decision made, that you didn't encourage her or tell her that
I
we
told
needed
her
to
to call the
petition.
state to find out. She said she got two different answers, that's all I remember about it, was she got two answers. And I said, well, she doesn't need to fill out a petition, she says, well, she's already started, so let her finish.
I
That's the
wanted
last
to say
I
that I
heard.
don't,
Again,
care.
I don't think that we're right to be throwing Kylie under the bus on this one because
I don't either, but
within
I'm
5
telling you
minutes
what
I
she
had,
told me.
within 5 minutes I had a phone call, she called me, she was reaching out to you and she got back to me and said that it was, that you had decided that we needed to have a
I
petition.
didn't decide
so.
anything, I decided that she should talk to the state. The state gave her two different answers. At that point, I said, forget it then, and she said, well, she's already started filling it out, this is a direct quote, she's already started filling it out, let her finish. You were at a basketball game or something, I wouldn't know that unless she told me.
And again,
Is that correct information, basketball
Could you
game?
reiterate
I
what you
never
said?
got that.
what's that?
But
Can you
regarding,
reiterate what you said earlier?
Yeah, well, no,
What's that?
it's, like I said, it doesn't require a petition. There was
Okay, well,
some
it's on.
discussion
Yeah,
before this meeting about a petition. You had asked the question, and we said, we can put anything on that we want, and it wouldn't require a petition. I was actually sitting in Kylie's office when you called,
agree.
and I said, shut it down, they don't need a petition, they
Well,
don't
she
need,
called
and I
me.
don't know how far along you were with
we
it
were
then.
111
Well,
signatures
okay,
deep at that
I
point.
apologize, because that's the
okay.
first time that
And
I
we knew
heard
that,
that it was
I
happening.
knew, so
Okay.
that was the issue, right? I knew,
Yep.
Justin and I
Yeah.
decided
Yep.
that despite knowing that that wasn't the law, that we were gonna continue with this because
show
we were
the
given an
support.
Yeah.
unjust,
that's fine. Where's the petition
Direction.
now? Did you turn the petition in?
it's unacceptable because it's
Why?
without, outside of the 47 days of law.
We turned it in to Kylie, and she put the literature on it that it was unacceptable because of the decision that you had put forward.
That the
I
state's
don't make
attorney gave
decisions
us.
outside the select board meeting.
So the
Well,
state's attorney
select-
and.
The select board makes the decision, it's on the ballot.
Okay, so that's what we're here about, is that somebody, I'm asking the select board to hold to find a way to hold accountability for each person in the governing body because of actions like this. And if
For
Linda
this
didn't do it,
specific decision.
then our town clerk acted out of compliance, right?
Well,
So
I don't
one
thi-
way or another, somebody-
First
somebody
of all,
was not
we
using
shouldn't
power
be-
appropriately.
We shouldn't be discussing the town clerk's performance in her absence, okay? And
Agreed.
if you have a complaint related to her, then you'll have to bring
I
it
feel like if
to.
you listen to my letter, my complaint's not about her. It's
I
about
under-
other things.
I understand your
But
letter,
I'm trying to
exactly.
defend myself and say, I got a phone call that said, what are we gonna do? One guy says, you have to, I don't know if it was Secretary of State or the other one guy said you had to have the petition, the other guy said you didn't. But there should have been, because of COVID, there should have been.
You say one guy, do you have names, specific
I have-
times, phone
well,
calls that
I
we
have
could reference?
what Kylie told me. Garrett Baxter is from the.
VLCT.
VLCT, and the other one is from, I just said it. Attorney General, not Attorney General.
And Garrett
Secretary of
Baxter
State.
had a letter and there
Secretary of
was,
State.
oh,
Secretary.
Garrett Baxter had a letter and there was a lot of presuming and implied meaning in that letter
What letter?
that Kylie read to you on the phone.
What letter? Who wrote it?
The
It was
attorney
an-
from VLCT that
It
read
was
to you on
an
the phone.
email from Garrett
Yeah. And
Baxter
she
or
read it to me on
whatever.
the phone, and what?
I don't know, I wasn't
I don't
there.
know.
I
mean,
can't
it's
speak
here,
to it.
it's-
Okay, so
I
you know
said
what?
you need to check to be legal. I like to be legal, that's all.
This is not the issue. The issue is that this has not been the first time that we've seen people make decisions outside of select board meetings that aren't appropriate. This is the time that there's enough evidence to prove that. And I'm just asking for the select board to find a solution to how can we make sure that we're being upfront and that each person on the seat on this committee has equal power. Because anytime that one person takes the power, then it takes the power away from the governing body that we've elected. And this is a prime example of that.
We all understand that, but I don't see any power that was taken away. It's on the ballot. We had to double check to make sure you didn't need a petition.
The
You
point
didn't
of what
need one.
Levi's trying to say isn't that it was or wasn't put on the ballot, it's that the fashion that it was put on the ballot, like we had
voted.
we had the vote, right, and it was voted in. And then we had to jump through all these hoops.
Well, because we
I
didn't
pounded
know.
pavement all day. Took time off of my work so that I could accumulate 70 some odd signatures to get it on the ballot to benefit this town. I didn't have to do that out of the kindness of my heart, basically.
What you're
So what
not
I'm saying is,
hearing
maybe
is
the
that-
townspeople, and I think you're one of them if I'm not mistaken, should have some passion about the town and maybe set aside their personal
How do you
opinions.
know what my personal opinion is?
Well, I think you've made them very clear in the
Oh,
situation that we're in right
No,
now.
I have a right to my opinion,
Right, and you're
Yes, I
not
know.
supposed to put your opinion.
and I didn't make a decision outside the
It
board.
sounds like you're kind of contradicting
It's on-
yourself right
It's
now.
on the ballot. It was voted to be on the ballot.
I literally
Then I
just
got a
said that's
phone
not
call.
the point.
Then I got a phone call saying, well, is it in time? And I said, well, check. And those two people both had differing opinions. And I said, well, then let it go. And she said, well, she's already started the petition, so I'll just let her finish it. And that's the last I heard.
I gotta just say that I was told that the town clerk did call to find out what kind of language to put on the ballot. And that the lawyer sent back, is there a petition, question mark, question mark, question mark, and then that's when she brought it to Linda.
No.
Well, I
And
think,
Nobody told me about the lawyer
well,
either.
then we must need a petition, so let's get one.
well, I think the
So then at
confusion
that point,
comes
Then
from,
they found out from the state we
Didn't
didn't need
need a
one because
petition,
the
and I
law.
said, forget about it.
So
She
then
said
they
she already
said to
started.
drop it,
Yeah.
and
Well-
everybody was still already on gear with getting the petition done.
Well, I
So how many
think-
people are into it. So it's just basically, that's how it went down. I don't think,
I had no
This point-
contact from the lawyer.
right,
well, in defense of this, you were very specific about the language that I need to put it in the minutes. You asked me to do it 3 or 4 times, and I got it exactly as it was presented. And I
Guess
think,
I try to be fair.
well, when Kylie first contacted
the lawyer.
both agencies, she was asking, is this language appropriate to go on the,
Right.
on the
And then they
ballot?
sent her back the
And
question.
then,
They
one
got
of these
involved.
attorneys got involved and suggested, well, did they put in a
And that's where it
petition?
started.
And the first words should be, no, it was legislated in by the select board. And then they recommended the language change to the way it appeared last year, and also to cite the state statute, whatever it is, 476 or something. And that's where it went off the rails.
Right,
I don't know.
Where it went off the rails.
Okay.
That's not the issue.
Well-
I think the issue is clearly stated.
Yeah, so, excuse me, sorry, I sprained my neck earlier. Sometimes it's hard to talk. Oh, man. Go ahead, Leland.
So the issue, I think, was clearly stated. So what is the issue? What is the issue that I'm coming forward with?
Well, I understand your concern about
No, like,
Well,
what is
so what I
it?
was gonna say earlier,
individuals, I'm sorry.
What, Justin, what?
Is my question, having heard you say that, is it a misappropriation of power, or is it a situation of negligence within this board? And not pointing fingers at one person,
You're
but
pointing
just,
at me.
just raising that question. Which way is it gonna go? Because it's one or two.
We voted, that was on the ballot. I got the phone call, I didn't instigate anything, I got a phone call saying, oh my God, one guy says yes, one guy says no. And I said, well, have her, and then I thought we decided she didn't have to have a petition. She said, well, she's going to a basketball game tonight or something like that.
So hearing you say that, that sounds like you're answering my question the long way around, saying negligence is the answer to my question.
Negligence.
Because my
of
question was,
I'm thinking-
is it a misappropriation of power, or is it negligence within this board? And I'm not pointing, like I said.
It
Can I
was
say
actually a miscommunication of trying to follow through the right way.
Right.
That's why I think this issue was, just because I did go in and go, what the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I got, and I told you guys this the other night, the same thing, this is what I was told. So, did we do the petition? Yes, we did, because I put in just as much work as everybody else did on it, getting people to sign it.
I said she
because
didn't
I
need
agree.
it, that was my last word, was I don't
So-
think she needs it.
Just hearing what Kylie had said, it should have been just kind of dropped off and stuff like that.
That information should have never come forth
Right.
until the people in charge, the select board,
Yes.
had the correct information to then relay.
But
The
if we had
information got
correct
relayed too
information-
early,
That-
and
We
you didn't,
had
get two different
the-
answers
Right,
from two different
but
people.
let me tell you this, when something is presented to us at the meeting and we vote on it, and then find out after, well, maybe it wasn't right, you've gotta do something about it. You
It
can't
was
just go,
though, you have to look at the law.
It wasn't,
That's why they called the lawyer, and the
Right.
lawyer.
And that
the lawyer
information
told
should
me
have
to
gone.
the other one from the state,
So look, that information
Can I
comes out
say
later.
We were
Carl's
all
got
in
the floor.
business.
Carl,
Linda, there's two ways to get something on a ballot. You can, the board can do it,
Right,
or you can do a
petition.
petition. So it kinda sounds like you guys were both trying to get it on there, the board was, and then the petition
John?
came along. Normally you do need a petition for
normally you do
citizens
for
to put
these things,
something on
yeah.
the ballot.
Right.
That's our policy, because that way we're not telling people they can or can't. The problem was, because of COVID, things have changed, okay?
Right.
And the other problem is, I said, well, she doesn't need to have a petition then, and she said, well, let her finish doing it.
Well, let's,
And it
let's
makes
have
a
a point of
difference in the
clarification.
wording,
COVID has nothing to do with
Right.
any of
I
this.
understand that.
Well, you just
What-
said COVID changed
Well,
everything,
it changed some things in the town.
no,
but it
what,
didn't change the law associated
Right.
with this.
what happened was,
The
The-
code
the-
changed for
the
people
date-
to petition for this type of stuff.
Right.
We
Yeah.
didn't have to have
That's
a
what I'm
petition
saying.
for
Right.
that, that's where we could just vote to put it on, that's why she's talking about.
this has always been the case, okay? And the date for the petition, the original petition was, I believe, the 13th, is that correct? Do you know? It's 47 days before, and that date had passed.
Correct.
That's why you guys came and presented at the
To the board.
January 20th meeting,
Yeah.
and we voted to approve it and put it on the ballot at that time. So you should have recognized that as the law. And before
Should we
you,
have, or should the select board have, Tim? Because that's the concern
the select
here.
board did, right here. It's in the minutes.
I think
And-
the
It's
issue,
on the ballot.
I know what the issue is, but I don't,
let me have the floor. I think the issue is somehow the impression was given to the community that they needed to get this petition signed by a certain time. That impression came from somewhere within this governing body or the town
Well,
official.
that's the
So
rule
that-
usually.
So, I think this lady over here was correct. It should have never got out until you were sure one way or the other. That is the miscommunication you're talking about.
right.
So, this governing body or the town official put undue duress on the community to go above and beyond what was even legally possible. I think that's the issue at hand.
Yes.
Agreed.
Had everything been resolved before there was communication to the general public or the petitioning people, none of this would have been an issue.
Right.
So at the very least, there needs to be greater assurances,
Before anybody made any phone calls.
calls, or anything, there need to be greater assurances
Right.
that all information is accurate and correct.
Yeah.
The fact that it's on there now doesn't change the fact that,
No, I understand that, I
Right.
can look at the
but
minutes.
you're saying nothing was done wrong.
I didn't
So
say
some,
that.
It's either,
We
it's
shouldn't
either
have-
negligence or misappropriation of power.
well, I
This
think it was
board,
miscommunication, and
this board should not have asked for a petition.
that is.
And we should act as a whole, and I understand that you're shooting at one person, but this board needs to act as a whole, and before any action is taken, it needs to be a decision of of this board. And I think, you all recognize that, we all recognize that, and, moving forward, hopefully, the loose cannons, will be quieted, and the decisions will come via the board. And I think we all have to
Other
take
decision
responsibility.
was made, other than it would be on the ballot.
I
I
understand.
can't make a decision outside the board.
Well, but apparently that's what,
Somehow information got out to
Yeah.
the public that they had to have a petition
Right.
after you'd already voted that it
We'd
could have been
already
on the
voted.
ballot.
right.
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 After the
And
first
then
one
I was called by the town clerk who had two different opinions, one from Garrett Baxter and one from VLCT or the other.
Why were we getting opinions?
Yeah.
She's the one,
We didn't
after
need
the
them.
meeting, I went home, I hadn't talked to
She called
anybody.
just to make sure that she was putting it
She
in
wanted-
the.
She
board
wanted the
correctly.
language to put it on there.
Exactly, that was it.
And when
the-
Question,
lawyer got
question,
involved.
question. So
That-
then
That
that's
shouldn't have
her.
been given to us. We should not have received that information
That's correct.
until the governing board said, it doesn't matter,
Yes.
doesn't need a petition,
Yeah.
end of subject, it's already on the
Right, but
ballot.
it was already
But
at that
then
point
the
released
ballot
out.
came up and people in the community then gained word of the fact that we needed this ballot in 2 days as, I think it was like 85 signatures or something.
Yep.
85 in 2 days, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
then it
that
was, and then you still
information,
didn't
I
have
mean, the
time,
ballot shouldn't
right?
have
It
even
was
been
too late.
given till.
No, they got
the-
100.
We got 111
Went
because we had
home
to
after
hustle.
this
No,
meeting,
it
never
wasn't
heard
easy.
anything about it.
People took time off work to make it happen.
Well,
And
obviously
in
you
fact,
heard
said to
something
the
about
town
it.
clerk,
Yeah.
forget the petition, she said, well, she's going to a basketball game tonight, she
So
gets the
where-
vote.
I
You're
did-
not throwing Kylie under the bus. I
Again,
think
we
you're throwing
should talk
Kylie
about
under
it
the
because she's
bus.
not here.
And that's
So
not right.
I just have a simple question, and it may be or may not be a simple answer, but someone on the board was given information. I don't know who. No one does. But that information came from someone on the board down the line. It came from someone and trickled down into the community that this is what had to happen, right? So, are you sure?
I have been.
Because you said you
I've
were
been
in conjunction with Kylie on the phone
She
and via
called me to
emails.
ask me.
So we need to find where the information came from so that we can hold the
Well,
board
I've been
accountable
holed up
accordingly.
in my house for 3 months, and I haven't talked, I only come to these meetings, and Kylie
This is
called
the
me.
age of the internet. You have
Well, I don't
communication
share,
with
too.
China
You're
in
the
the
chair,
tips of your
correct? You're the
fingers.
chair.
Yes, I am, I've been sick, I've been in nursing home for 3 months.
Understandable, but there
And,
should be, you know.
Yes, I understand, I should be more
So the question is,
cognizant of what's going on.
moving forward, how do we hold accountability if this information got to the general public, right?
I didn't tell anybody.
But that's not the question. We didn't say, did you tell anybody? We're saying, how do we hold where's the
What
accountability and
information
what?
are you saying got to the public? The fact that the
We need a
cannabis was gonna be on the.
What are we talking about here?
That was.
Well, what would you like
Who
to
said what you wanted
see
to be
as
signed
the
by Thursday?
result of this
Yeah, who
complaint?
said
I
that
would
we had
say
2
Kylie.
days?
I would like to see us grow. I would
I
like
think
to,
one person
to
at a
answer
time
your
is what
question,
was
sir.
confusing.
I would like to see this community grow in a way that benefits the community. I would like to see
Absolutely.
the board communicate more effectively if that's the problem at hand. I would like to see less negligence if that's the problem at hand. We haven't actually addressed those questions with any answers yet to find out what the inner problem of these workings are.
Well,
So
And
Levi,
I would like to see
What
a
is that?
policy regarding conflict of interest and ethical conduct for the town of
Absolutely.
Richford, which is legally something that the town has to have, yet we do not have.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't
Thank
have-
A
Kylie,
VLCT, you do, no, you have to have a policy of
you have
conflict of
the-
interest and
I'll
ethical
say it, yeah.
conduct.
we have a conflict
We have
of
a conflict
interest
of interest.
policy.
Not every town has it.
we do have.
According
We
to
do
the
have one.
Secretary of State, each town needs
Yeah, I
it.
thought
And
it
where
was
do you find that?
the
Because it's not in our
Secretary of
charter.
No, it wouldn't be in the
Oh,
charter.
Here, we have one.
Yeah, I agree.
We have a conflict of, I mean, not
There is a
now, but
conflict of
again,
interest.
yes,
It's
there
in
is
the
conflict.
files.
We've had it for a long time.
Yep.
Levi, who told you that you had to have a petition?
I was told by the town clerk when she called me, and then she asked if, she said she was gonna call Linda and see what Linda thought. And then I was told that I needed to have a petition within 10 minutes after that.
We had already, what day was this? We had already voted that it could be on the
That would
ballot.
have been Tuesday, January 25th.
So we voted that it could go on the ballot when? What was the date?
January 20th.
That's why we were so upset.
And you stated earlier,
That's
you
why
stated
we were
earlier
so
that you had,
upset that we
sorry.
had conflicting information given to us, that it wasn't going on the ballot.
I didn't say
unless-
anything.
Okay, we're telling you someone in
Yes.
this.
So
And
you,
so, as the
Deep
chair
throat.
though, you have to
Kristen.
take charge of
Well, I have to know
information.
what's going on to take charge.
just give me a second. I
You just
I
said
don't-
you talked to
my neck.
Kylie about it, so
Right.
you
Oh,
or
it was
Kylie knew
after
it.
our meeting, Linda.
Right, after, if I may,
Yes.
after you had voted it in onto the ballot, right? You stated earlier that you were in contact with two different,
No, I wasn't. Kylie was. I have not talked to anybody.
so you were in contact with Kylie after that,
She
after you had
called me.
voted in, right?
Called
And
me.
she told you about the two lawyers conflicting information.
Yeah.
Is
And
that
I
what I'm
said-
understanding?
And I said at that point, whether anybody believes me or not, tell her she doesn't need a petition. And she said, she's going to a basketball game tonight, she can get the signatures. And I said, do what you want.
So regardless.
Well, but that's not the correct guidance to give her.
Well,
No, that's
Tell her to
not.
shut it down right
That's what
away.
we voted for.
Give her the ballot.
What do you mean?
If we had to come and pick up ballot here, like
From who?
from Kylie, right? To do
Oh, for
told you that?
petitions, for petitions.
yes.
Yeah, I got
No,
Someone
but if-
came and
From
picked up the
Kylie.
petition, at that time, they should have said, nope, it's dead in the water, no petition needed, we're not
No.
giving it to
He
you.
just told you when we voted on it.
So why was she giving the
Right, but we
petition
were
when she
here.
was
She's not here, I don't know.
Were any of the board other than, this is my last question, and then I have to take off, my neck is starting to flare up. Was any of the board in contact with Kylie or any lawyers
I was in contact with Kylie.
other than you, Linda?
No.
Kylie called me.
If
I
you could
didn't
answer
talk
that
to her.
question with like a yes or a no.
Yeah, yes, Kylie.
So, okay.
Kylie called me.
So the information must have come from you.
What information? I don't understand.
I don't understand why you're being so evasive on my
I'm
question.
not
Yeah, it doesn't
evasive.
even matter.
Normally, to get something on the ballot, we've always required, even, the homeless shelter.
You're reiterating a reiteration of a reiteration at this point with what you're saying right now.
All right.
Right.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I want to move forward. I don't want to be
Now, where's-
stagnant in a beat around the bush session here.
So like the
After
concern
fact,
here is,
It should have been,
Shut down, and after the
Shut
fact,
down
I
immediately.
was told, they were told to shut it down.
okay, I don't know when all that took place. I don't know what date I was sitting
you were here on
in
Thursday.
Kylie's office, okay,
Tuesday,
Thursday,
that last
when,
day.
when you called. And I said, shut it down, it should
Yeah.
never have happened, okay? And they got the impression that they needed to do it because when there was this telephone call to you, and you said, oh, they don't need the petition, but nobody decided to tell them to
I said,
stop the
if that's-
meter.
If that's
Don't,
what the state says, then obviously you don't need a petition. I
But
said
you
that.
had
Right, but
stated
nobody
earlier that Kylie
communicated
had given you
that.
conflicting information. She said she talked to two different people. These are your words, if you'd let me finish.
Yes.
You said that she said that she had given you conflicting information from two different lawyers. So you then told her to go ahead with what? She was asking you for guidance on what way to
Yes,
go.
and I
So what
said-
was your
and
answer?
I told you 3 times, I
Let
said,
them do what they
just
want.
let her do it, and don't need a petition. Her answer to me was, well, she's already started it, and she's going to a basketball game.
Is that what Kylie told you?
and,
Leave it.
well, even if that is
Well,
what
and I
Kylie
say
said,
things about Kylie.
She's gonna
Why
bring up
didn't-
the conversation between her and Kylie right now.
Why
for
didn't you,
transparency's
Well, I
sake.
don't know what they wrote to each other.
why
Well,
didn't,
that's-
I just have
when
their
Kylie
stuff here.
said that she was off to a basketball game and she was gonna get all the signatures she needed, why didn't you just tell her to stop?
She's the town clerk. I'm gonna tell her to stop.
Well,
brand new,
it's,
yeah.
yeah, you're the legislative branch.
Tell everybody else what to do.
She's essentially in
But
training.
if you knew
You're-
that, we
you're-
didn't need a
I'm
ballot.
sorry, I
Superior
just,
in a
We
sense.
had,
No, they're not.
listen,
Just-
I'm gonna shut this down, and I know you'll all be mad, but we had 2 opinions from state people. One from the Secretary of State, one from the VLCT. One said, you need a, and the other said you don't.
They didn't say
I have that
you needed
email in
one.
front of me, and nobody said we needed to have a ballot, they said they presumed, and so like, that's a pretty strong, like,
Yep,
almost asinine language coming from an attorney, but the language was, I assume that when you say the select board, quote, approved the request for this to be on the ballot, end quote, that the request, in quotes, was in the form of a valid voter back petition, period. And then they go on to quote what you can do, go on to quote what other towns have done, and then goes on to quote another law, and then and it just goes on and on, but if the petitioner wants to authorize all legal methods of the sale of cannabis to the public, it should vote on the following, and he gave language that could be put in there. So the presumption was that the language that we had was actually giving the town more power than the town actually needed. We gave a specific timeline, which the state has already granted, and we gave power to the municipality, which the state has already granted. So the only piece that needed to be in there was the core of that, unless we wanted the municipality to have more language. So I went through and I read that, and then I actually went through and I looked up law, and I called the state's attorney, and I called the Secretary of State to get that information. And I wonder why we're taking two different people's point of view, attorney or agency, and we're not actually looking at the law ourselves and then consulting based on the law. So that's a concern for me. And again, a concern for me is that clearly somebody here trickled information down to us that was indeed a decision made by one person, potentially. And in the future, how do we prevent this is the question. I don't care who did it. I just care that it was done.
It's on
I
the
care that it
ballot.
doesn't feel great. How did it feel, Scott, when I called you up and said that I needed your signature? How did that feel to you?
I didn't think, I watched the meeting on TV and I thought it was already passed. I didn't realize you needed my signature for
I-
petition.
Okay, Sherry, how does that feel?
I was like, what the hell's going on?
And when I met Andy Pond in the parking lot to sign, he was pretty befuddled by it as well.
Yeah, I was there.
So
I didn't request you to.
I'm not
have a
asking.
petition,
I don't
so I
care
don't
who
know
did.
where it came from.
I don't care who did it. I want to prevent future occurrences of this in our community because we're all on the same team and we're not acting like it. If you sit here and watch this, we're tearing each other apart. How do we prevent things like this from happening? Because there is no way that I want every representative sitting at this table elected to govern our town to not know what's going on.
I tend to agree with you, okay? And I just think this is really unfortunate, terrible miscommunication. And yes, the plug should have been pulled on it earlier, that they, saying she's going to a basketball game, she'll get all the signatures she needs.
That's what I was told.
Well, but the correct response would have been, well, don't stop
I
her.
did. I said she doesn't need a petition.
Okay, well.
The town clerk
And
is
again-
responsible for the warrant, not me.
Yeah, I understand, but I think it's a terrible miscommunication. We didn't shut it down appropriately, and I didn't find out anything about it until I was sitting in the office when you called. And again,
Board members that were.
well, and I'm
Apparently
kind
nobody
of surprised.
Exactly.
You didn't know anything about it, right?
So,
I
yeah.
didn't know.
So
And he was asked to
nobody's known
sign.
anything.
Andy was asked to sign, and he didn't know anything about it.
Three of the four that didn't know
If you
anything
came
are
to
sitting
me,
at
I
this
would have
table.
told you, don't bother.
So how do we prevent this?
one of
even
them-
knowing
I don't
that?
know how you control that. You're not gonna shut people down individually in this community.
If you know the laws
Yeah.
that we are governed by,
Yeah.
it didn't have to go any further.
That's correct.
Obviously, somebody gave misinformation
The
that
town
was
clerk
not
called
that.
me.
And you should have said they don't need a petition done.
Well, I didn't know, because she asked me.
How did you not know? You just said you don't
Because
need a
she
petition
called-
if it's been voted in. How do you not know
She
that?
called
The attorney
two
questioned
state
it,
agencies,
But it doesn't
they gave
matter.
her different answers.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter if the attorney knows.
It's
We
on
know
here.
that our
We
clause
need, I
and
understand
what the
that,
board
but
governs-
we
So
need.
to get back, I don't want to keep going round in circles. To get back to what Levi was kind of saying, is like, how do we prevent it? And I have an idea, and maybe somebody can take it and run with it. I don't know, but it's so the local website, the town website for Richford, and like how it's posted and how it's read, and it's really. I mean, I don't mean to bash it or anything, but it's really hard to read. It's hard to navigate. It's not user friendly, and I don't know if that's by design or if that's an accidental thing. But like,
Maybe I don't know enough to design it like that.
okay, but I'm just saying, maybe a little bit more time and energy needs to be put in that direction so that people are more aware of things, and that people can be aware of things without misinformation, whether it's intentional or not intentional, happening. You know,
Well,
and
yeah, but only to some degree, okay?
to what
Because-
degree?
Well, that's my point. I read further in these notes, for instance, I asked Michael Olio to do a couple of things. I don't know if he did them, and if he did or if he didn't, should he then be censured for not doing those?
Well, I don't think we should
or
take
should
him
it
out in
be-
the square and flog him.
Well,
but
no,
somebody
but-
might want to
no, but-
say, "Hey, man, you might
But-
have forgot to do this part
But
today."
what I'm saying is, I mean, that's the next item down on the agenda, that's why I came to it, on the minutes. But wouldn't the public be interested in what Michael found out? You know, these minutes are published on the website.
I
and they're-
realize that,
and they're
and
posted
what I'm
around
saying
town.
is they're not easily read on the website. It's not a user-friendly website. Some of our elderly,
I agree with that.
And they get posted,
population
they
and
get-
some of our younger population alike both have a hard time navigating.
And it's a
Well,
100 times better than it was
It's
a
a
year
whole,
ago.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's a whole lot better than it was 2 years
The
ago.
minutes,
Like I said, I wasn't bashing it. I'm just saying all I was
All
saying
I'm
is try to
saying-
get us move forward with something.
and I agree with you.
Instead of going around in a circle in the blame game.
We want to, that's exactly it, we want to move forward.
Right, I'm
And-
not pointing
and-
fingers at
And
you.
I'm not sure what the information base is going to be. Like, should we announce that we allowed the American Legion to approve veterans banners?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, anything to do with the community as it impacts the community.
And it's right here
Should be-
in the minutes.
Should be.
And those minutes get posted at the post office, at the Jolly Store,
Right.
outside
What if
here.
people can't read?
Well,
Something like
they can be read to
Get
them.
something on the
I'm
ballot
just
if you want.
saying, I think there's a
Get
lot
something
more
on the
use,
ballot.
with the
We can
technology
petition
we
the
have
select board
today,
like you guys
there's
did
a lot
second.
more that we
Or
opportunities
the
that
board
we
can
can
put it on.
utilize to
That's what it sounds
join
like.
community and for infrastructure.
It's on the YouTube video.
Also, what I want you to is,
Okay, private
I just-
conversations and stuff.
Being a neutral
So-
person in this.
All right, what do you want?
We need to have a we need to have a policy of conflict and interest and ethical conduct, and you claim that there is one of those. I'd like to see that on the website.
Okay, put the policy on the website then.
I also think that it's important for our select board members and members of all other committees, Justin, you'll agree with me, because we've discussed this, I think. If you are serving on the town committee, VLCT, I believe, still does a training for
Yes.
committee members. I think that there's many committees in this community that don't know about that and would love to be trained in open meeting law and other aspects that we
Absolutely.
have available to us. Because I believe that some of this stuff might be covered in that.
If
And
it were
if
up
I
to
just
me, it would be
interject
mandatory.
here, when I came on the board, the first thing I did was go to the training on how to be a select board member. No one has gone since I've been.
And how
I've
many
been
years
on
has
for
that been?
13 years, and nobody,
I take-
nobody.
And
Which
Yes.
is why we're
January.
addressing
I
it.
have,
Okay, two
Right.
the
people.
first time around.
I've been to it.
There you go.
Right now.
But you
We
were,
went to
yeah.
Montpelier, we got trained and everything,
Right.
Annual
and since
training.
that
I think-
time.
And you also get the booklets
you get both.
for the JP and for the select board, and it tells you everything you're supposed to do.
I need to end this because we've got a lot of stuff, so do you want,
If
do
you
you
made
want,
it a
do you want an
policy,
apology?
it's a mandatory
You-
thing,
you-
then
Did you finish your list?
Even,
Yeah, I don't want an
But you don't wanna
apology,
make
I just
anything
want,
mandatory.
No.
I don't
I
know what
want-
to apologize
We-
for, I
we-
got a phone call.
If I could, I understand that it all boils down to communication, always has, every big problem does. Again, I don't know how you solve this, other than me running up and down Main Street in my chicken suit,
I
you know,
do.
waving my arms and
I
tongue.
might know how to solve it. And-
Okay.
And it's just another suggestion, but you have to put your personal beliefs aside. You walk in here without an ego, and you sit down with the interest of the town and its population in mind.
I
And you-
think that's the case.
And that's how you move forward as a community. Because right
Right.
now we're stagnant. Nobody's moving forward right now.
Oh, I
And it's evident.
beg to disagree.
Inches, and everybody else is moving miles.
I feel
Everybody
one-
else
I feel
who?
one thing with the select board, and I've seen it in a lot of meetings, I watch a lot of them, that when stuff is brought up in the select board meeting and they table it, it gets tabled for a long time and it's forgotten.
It does get
I
forgotten.
think that there has to be a resolution before it goes on too long, and this select board is very guilty of that.
Yeah, we have some items on
And
the
there's a
agenda
lot-
for tonight.
There's a lot of
Related to
stuff
that.
I think that gets neglected, and I think it's time to maybe make a change. And if you guys on the select board can't make that change, then somebody else needs to.
Agreed.
Okay.
Well said.
Okay, anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mandy? No, I'm doing the. John?
See this thing?
Okay, John has the floor right now, please.
I just have one thing for the board that should be of interest to you. A piece of land up on East Richford Slide is being sold, and it's in the Watertown Supply Protection District. So they have to have a hearing on it.
Must be in the Stevens Mill slide?
Yes,
Okay.
it's some of Cleveland Blair's land.
Yeah.
And there's a public hearing on it the 22nd of February here.
Yeah, I saw,
Stevens
I saw
Mills,
this
yeah.
posting. Okay.
Cleveland's got some land between like Carol's and Dee Dee's that he's selling.
We should go to the meeting.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, like 98.
Somebody from town might want to come to the hearing.
I have something, thanks. I have, as long as you're here, I don't.
Bye, guys.
Today I got a phone call from, anyway, more about, and I don't have to go into executive session because this was a public hearing, is the Leah Rich, animal problem up in East Richford, what do you call it, Gilmet Road. Apparently now there's 3 more horses up there, there's dogs being advertised on the internet, and there's some other animals that are up there, cows and steers and something. Is there any forward movement on that?
The last thing I heard from the attorney, she has filed for a complaint for enforcement.
What does that mean?
That they'll go to court and ask to have our bylaws enforced.
Who is going to do that?
The town's attorney.
Oh, the town will do it.
has filed a complaint for enforcement.
For enforcement of our town rules?
Yes.
Okay, because.
I don't think they've gone to court yet, but
No,
that's the
they
last
haven't.
thing.
Well, I'm trying to put the information together because I didn't know what the final thing was with us, and now there's more animals, and they're on the, I guess on Facebook or someplace, I tried to find it tonight, but, and I talked to the next door owners, and I had to talk to the, I've talked to about 6 people today. So, supposedly, because I'm health officer, I need to contact the, I don't know if it's the ag guy, I've got it written down at home, to find out about this, because I mean, unless these animals are starving, I don't know what we're gonna do about it. I mean, I can't, she's got 4 horses there, it's not, you know.
Well, what we can do is that property is already in violation
How so?
for numerous things.
Yeah, but it's
and,
already gone, it's been filed,
Well,
it's out of our hands.
why is it out of our hands? I don't understand why we don't enforce.
I don't understand
Our-
why we don't either, why we don't enforce evictions.
Well, and I'm gonna bring that up right now.
Good.
But I think
But-
it was just last week, I got a copy of this company, was titled Complaint for Enforcement. Copy from the attorney that she was
This is for
filing with,
witches.
that she was filing with the court.
Oh, 'cause she's filing that.
Our attorney is filing.
Oh,
it.
okay. Our attorney is filing. So that's what they're for. I mean, we can't do anything more than that. She's filing for the complaint. I will call the ag guy tomorrow because as health officer, I have to make a complaint. But I don't know if those, the horses are, she lives in the country. She can have 4 horses. If they're not being abused or mistreated and whatever other animals, I mean, it's
I think that
not our business.
anybody with any sense of sanity would recognize that the animals are being abused.
We know.
Because they're running in the road, they're getting hit by cars,
Well,
they're
I
getting.
have had the state, 2 different agencies from the state come up and deem that nothing is wrong.
That's not-
I've had the Department of Health up there because the water, all the feces are going in the water at the neighbor's house. Their bacteria count is 2,000.
I understand that.
Okay, they couldn't do anything. I had the ag department come and I had the health department come last year. Neither department could or would do anything.
Because
And so-
they're saying it's not a farm.
Right.
Right, well, my thing is,
Well, she's buying horses now, how many animals is it before
There's
it's a farm?
there's 4 horses
Yeah, but how
now.
many animals before it's a
Oh
farm?
my
No,
God, you can't, I don't know.
No, I think you have to count how much income.
Yeah, it's income,
It's
it's not based
income.
on animals, it's not, yeah, it's income.
It's a zoo.
well, and again,
There you go.
Nonprofit.
is, and I know you're gonna feel like you're getting picked on again, but is that something that we, as this board, and/or as the health officer, should tolerate?
No,
That, well, but,
I've
so,
been working on this for 2 years
I understand that, but,
and getting nowhere.
and
And what has the board done to back it up?
I didn't know that you were working on it for 2 years.
Why, yeah,
What
brought it
would,
to the board for 2 years.
would you like us to do something?
Well,
Would
you
we,
can't, there's nothing we can do,
I
okay?
don't wanna
Let me turn
take,
it over to you.
I don't wanna take no for an answer. What I wanna do is research what can be done.
You don't think I've spent 2 years doing research and calling agencies?
I think you have, but to, you know, to just say nothing can be done, well, that's horrendous. It's a situation that needs to be rectified, and it's gotta be some
Zoning must come in,
agency
doesn't
out
it?
there.
Isn't
I'm
that
sorry?
where zoning comes in? You got-
Well, zoning has been in there, that's why it's gone to the environmental court now. So, but just to follow on to your comment from earlier, I don't think that it's acceptable that we just say no. And I'll be, well, I will be happy to call every agency in the state,
I've already
in the
done
state
that.
house. Well,
2 agencies have been up, done extensive work up there. We had our people test the water.
That's actually in
It's
the minutes.
Yeah, it's in the minutes.
okay, yeah, no, I understand that,
2,000 over what it's supposed to be for their water down below.
but,
So that's where the environmental's coming in, right? Because of the
They're all-
water.
they've
So
all
that
been
might be
looking.
the only way that we can
how about,
get them. is
how about
through the
animal
environmental.
abuse?
There isn't, they can't find any.
You can't, it's not animal abuse letting your animals run free.
No, it is not.
It's not.
Not letting them get killed by vehicles,
Yep, it's
not
still
letting them,
It's still not.
She says that's
It's
the
still
way
not-
it is.
I
Leave
mean, it's
animals
still
get
not-
killed.
She
I know,
has,
it's
she has
super
put up
gross.
a fence, which helps, but.
Well, it was on the neighbor's property, though, that's the problem. But they're doing
But yeah,
their
so
thing.
hopefully the environmental for the water would be the way to get
And
there.
it wasn't, they didn't do a thing. They came up and they looked at it, I had it tested. It was 2,000, it was only supposed to be 190.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I have been working on it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not,
But is there something
but,
else out there?
yeah,
extra
I
more?
just, I can't believe, if somebody came and said they were taking your house away from you for no apparent reason,
You can't,
you wouldn't fight it?
no.
Well, right now, they're giving Richford a black eye related to this zoo farm, animal training center, whatever the hell it is.
Okay.
And we're just saying, we got no backing. We're not gonna do anything.
Well, I would like to turn this over to you,
Fine.
okay? And I'll give you, do you want me to call the name they give me today, or do you want me to send it to you?
Just email it to me, send me all of the information that you have about it, and I got plenty of time. I can make phone calls and aggravate people
I've
and
got plenty of time too, and I can get nowhere on my phone calls. I've done.
destroy what little reputation I have.
Okay, so.
It's okay.
But that-
I'll do it.
Tim is gonna take.
I got it right here.
Okay. Now, anything else, John? Michael?
All right.
Well,
Michael?
no, before we leave John,
Yeah?
doesn't he have a dog in this 55 Farrar eviction site?
You answer that. You're the one
And if
that-
not-
No, I have never,
I've never
How,
seen any of that.
how have they not been cited for the conditions
Because
of
they
that
don't own
property?
the house. We do.
So cite us.
I think I have
And-
cited them for having junk and stuff, but since you guys own it now,
And if anybody
And
falls
to-
down inside, we can get sued. But nobody's been listening to me for the
Wait.
past year about this place, and the lawyer doesn't, we had the same.
I have a judgment right here. I have,
Judgment that-
well, not the judgment, I'm sorry, the opinion from the attorneys. Unfortunately, the court has not ruled on the motion to amend yet. This was last Wednesday, February 2nd. Margie, who's CC'd here, called the court early last week to ask for an update, and the clerk said it was before the judge, and she was surprised it had not yet been ruled on. She said she would put it in from the judge again. Margie is going to check back with her tomorrow, that was last Thursday, as it seems strange that it hasn't been ruled on. Assuming the motion is approved, we'll file the amended complaint, which is already drafted, and then the court will still likely set a status conference. And this was a follow-up on an email from December 12th that was just checking in on the Walker eviction matter. Mentioned in my last update that they claim they paid $500 in cash to Herbert Walker from 2012 until he died, and therefore should have received 60-day notice of eviction.
2012, they gave him $500?
That's what it says.
Well,
If someone rents for more than 2 years, they're entitled to a 60-day notice. However, under the claim of having a rental agreement for $500 a month, they're delinquent to the town in the amount of $8,000. Eviction for non-payment of rent only requires 30 days, so we gave them 30 days' notice under the motion to amend complaint, adding the new eviction notice into the original complaint. This should eliminate the issue of whether or not they were entitled to 60 days original notice. If they show up on Monday with $8,000, please let me know. It's hard to imagine it'll happen, but I will make sure before presenting it to the court that they haven't paid. And that's what I mentioned before.
We cannot accept $8,000 because we didn't own it till last year. That would be a violation.
Well, and again-
You can't accept rent from something you don't own.
Well,
Maybe we need a new lawyer?
Yeah, no, we need to go back to the old lawyer we had when we evicted up at 21 Elm Mountain. It was simple, 30 days, I realized there was
Yeah, but
no
those people,
COVID, no COVID.
those people wanted to leave. These people don't wanna
Well, I
leave.
know.
It's a big difference.
Well, I can't help
They
it.
play the system.
We put up an eviction notice, they were out for 30
I
days.
don't understand how they have a system to play with though.
Yeah,
well, it's,
they are the renters of that house.
With the COVID, we couldn't kick them out because no one could be kicked out.
Right.
All landlords got hit
but
with
then
that.
the eviction moratorium
Right, it's over.
ended,
Yes,
And they're still
and-
there.
Sounds like it's just gotta go in front of the judge.
yeah.
See,
then somebody needs to spark the judge.
and that-
Here's our job, no.
I'm putting it out there because again, it's another unacceptable, and I know we've been working on it.
Have I been saying
And
that for a
no,
year, that it's
with-
unacceptable?
yes, you
And
have.
this is for just
I'm
the-
not,
well, that's the lawyer.
I'm not faulting you for it. All I'm saying is, I don't want to accept things anymore. Being a member of this governing board, it's not appropriate, and, you know, I'm tired of answering questions of inactivity. You know, why can't this happen? Well, I don't know why it can't happen.
We'll ask the lawyer, because I almost every meeting I say, why are they still there? Well, the lawyer says, and you're absolutely
And
right,
that's-
Linda, maybe we need a new
So
lawyer.
now it's in front of the judge and the judge just has to vote
Maybe.
on it.
No, the judge has to recognize
Has
it.
to recognize
They
it.
haven't, they put it, it's before the judge, and she was surprised it had not yet been ruled on. Which, it's in a stack of papers like this, and it's probably on the bottom, and they have 2 judges working a week, and only 2 days a week, and so nothing happens. And again, we need to insure ourselves against the possibility that somebody gets hurt there. It's our
It happened at
property.
the other place, she fell down right before they left.
But can we accept that, or do we
She
do?
didn't get anything, but these people might, the lawyer we've got now.
So what can we do about it? Outside of the lawyer? Should we talk to our insurance company and say, here's a scenario. We own a property, we can't evict the people. If someone, if a
Can't
beam,
evict them.
well, not according to this, because the judge hasn't ruled on it, on an amended plan, because the tenants that
I
are.
don't know, because we haven't been in it. How do we know
The
what the shape is?
tenants in there have filed a report that they paid some rent.
Not to us.
I understand that, but before our time, and that causes a complication with the eviction. and then,
Who
oh,
evicted them? Who's evicted them?
Why can't the insurance company go after them? On the town's behalf? You pay insurance for a reason.
yeah.
Talk with the insurance
That's,
company.
that's my question. Why don't we talk to the insurance company and just tell them, we got these people that have been living in our house since last summer, after the,
Longer.
or is it a year
year
ago?
last summer.
We had,
Okay.
it was.
I don't know when it was up for tax sale, I wasn't on the board then,
And then a
so.
year goes by, and then it's been 2 years.
I'm not, I
Take my
apologize.
word for it.
Okay, so,
Can't we get somebody from the state to come up and condemn it?
We don't know if it's condemnable.
Well,
yeah.
from the outside, we need to have
Yeah,
somebody
from
from
the
the
outside,
state
it looks it.
come in. Are they on assistance?
The state,
Are they on assistance?
state
If they're
would
on
work.
assistance, we can call the state and have the state come in because these guys are on assistance.
We don't
Can we
know.
find that out?
I'd call the insurance.
I don't think that they give out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, follow
I
all
think-
leads for 100%.
I'll make some calls this week. The insurance, I'll call the,
That we're worried about the house's condition, because we believe
what do we
it's
call
condemned,
it? Supplemental
but
income?
we can't get in there and see if the state would step in and go and look.
Are there any children in there?
I don't know.
They
I
have
don't know, but I can
children.
ask the neighbor when he comes to the store tomorrow.
Okay, because
They have children.
to be
They have
honest,
children?
to be honest with you,
There we go.
children is a magic word when
There
you're
we
calling
go.
it, even if it's 911. If children are involved, they tend to
There
respond
you go.
faster.
That might be between the two of them, we might be able to get them.
What is it, DF,
DCF.
DCF, I'm sorry.
But what if they make you fix it up for the kids?
No, they can't do that because
We don't have a contract.
If it's condemned,
they're not renting it.
They don't-
They're not
How
paying
much
any
money
rent.
is the town into that house for?
We aren't into only the taxes. We took it as tax,
Right, I know.
right? So
But
we
you
don't have
spent
the
money
tax
for the
money.
lawyer to evict them
Right.
and.
Well, this is it, yeah. And, see, what happened was I think the day or the week before the guy that we had the deal
He
with
died.
died, and they stayed. Nobody knew they were living there.
and then with the COVID, you couldn't kick anybody out of any home anywhere.
That's what shut it off for a
And then
year.
that's finally shut off, and then, yeah,
And
so
now here we
there's
are, now
gotta
we
be a
have a lawyer
way.
that, you know,
I think just get it in front of the judge.
Okay. Well, again, I'll be using my phone skills tomorrow,
okay,
okay?
Michael,
So, I was, Amy Pond approached me about, converting LED, or street lights to LEDs,
Yeah.
street lights. And so I just had some information on that. You guys want to go about that?
that before, I wonder what your findings are.
So I talked to co-op, and they said they already did, assessment of Richford
Yeah.
to do this. The conversion would cost the town $16,000, $16,350. If we did the conversion, it would save the town $910.44 per month
Per
on
month.
lights.
$900 a month.
So it'd pay for itself in a year and a half?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
2 years.
And where the cost comes in is swapping out the light fixtures.
Uh-huh.
And right now, they cost about $175 per light.
This is in
No.
addition to the 16,000?
No,
Okay.
this is where the cost comes in.
They actually own the lights though, right?
Yes.
And we lease them?
Yes.
And that's what okay. So, are they carrying any of the cost to re-equip?
So this is where I'm gonna get into
Okay.
that. So it's $175 now. Efficiency Vermont has a program, where they would cover $100 of it. And stuff, but the town would pay $75 per light fixture, and that's where the $16,350
Okay.
comes from.
Mhm.
Because there's 218 lights right now, and we could actually make that cost even smaller if we choose to get rid of some lights. We could do that. The co-op, I asked, do other towns do that, or have they done that in the past? They said the co-op has seen other towns do 20 to 30% lights, they get rid of.
Reduction, yeah. Can we do it seasonally?
I probably.
I mean, we don't need as much light in the summertime.
Oh, I see.
When it's dark.
Well, I know when it's dark,
It's
but,
dark.
but if you were to recommend eliminating 30% of the streetlights, which would be 60 lights or 70 lights, and then you're going to as a trial, let's say, in the summer. And then as it gets darker, you know, you have to, it's like changing the timers on lights in a parking lot or something.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's, you don't need them as much, and maybe you gotta get 10% of them back. And is that something, they're not gonna dismantle the lights that we say we don't wanna turn on, they just won't bill us for them.
So if we don't want, because when you swap out the fixtures, they'll just take off the old one, they wouldn't put another light on the pole.
Okay.
You can't just turn it on.
So no, yeah, I don't think you
Yeah.
can do that.
Do you have a number on how many lights we have?
218.
218?
If-
That's town and village, must be?
Yeah, that's everywhere,
You
yep.
have lights in
Got them in
Some
Stevens
places,
Mills, I
yeah.
don't know if
there?
they're,
Really?
they're not all individual, you know, yard lights, there's some out on 105, so I'm assuming they're town lights.
So is it because they're LED, why some of the towns are going 30%, 20% less?
Yeah,
They're
you-
LED and they're brighter, so you
Are
don't
they
need as
brighter?
many?
they're more direct, so like, you know, when you go out, you look at our streetlights here, they kind of flood the whole area.
Yeah.
LEDs
Oh,
are
I
more
see, that'd
direct,
be right.
and they're more like,
Right.
the area.
You can go
you're
up-
trying to light will be-
Go up on Green Avenue, and
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 years ago, they replaced 2 of the pole lights, I believe, with LEDs at that time. And that's when Norris Tillotson was calling the shots on that.
Well,
And
he
he
tried to
said,
find out. What you call it.
yeah, and he said, he didn't care for him because the light was too direct.
Right.
You know, and it's not,
You listen to him because he works in the light company for
Yeah,
50
yeah,
55 years
you know,
now.
that's right. So, and personally, I've never been up there to look at them.
Right.
But that's what they say is the problem with them when you're trying to reduce the number of poles.
I mean, we don't
So-
have to, so like, that's kind of the thing, we don't have to, but like, to get to that next stage, we have to figure out what we wanna do with the lights.
Yeah.
If we wanna keep all of them, you can do that, that would be the cost.
Right.
But if they were to convert them all for that $16,000,
Yeah.
and then we told them to shut down 70 of them after the conversion,
I think you probably could, I can't see why you couldn't.
right, because we
Just cut
paid for
down
them in the
light
front
bill.
end.
It cut down on your light bill.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
and,
that-
and already
Like,
with the
light
new
bulb out
bulbs,
in the house, yeah.
the new bulbs, you're gonna save $900 a month. And if you cut another third of the lights in general,
Yeah, if you.
You know,
want
it's
just
gonna
to
be
test it,
another,
you would, yeah.
$300 savings a month. You know, so you might get your streetlight bill down to $600. I know that's probably not the correct math, but somewhere around there, which is a significant savings.
Yeah,
Well, if we save this 900 a month, that's gonna basically, our streetlight budget is what, 56,000 a year or something?
I'm not sure of that.
Because they're gonna kick in for a couple of years.
Well, they'd have to do the conversion, yeah.
Yeah, I think our whole budget for streetlights is like 56,000 if I remember right.
Right, and if you swap them.
It's 52 weeks in the, oh, I'm thinking weeks, okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
My math is way off.
There's 12 months.
Streetlights, the 22 budget is $56,500. Okay,
Take 900
And-
off that times 12. It's a good savings.
sure is. And,
32 years before
and it would
you
pay,
get
it would, in a year and a half, would pay for the conversion,
Yeah.
Right.
okay, with Efficiency Vermont's help, right?
And that's.
Did you say 900 a month?
900.
900 a month, yeah,
For saving.
savings. It wouldn't go to
That's
900 a month.
$10,000 a year, it's 10,800 a year.
Right, and the project would cost
For 2
16,000.
years you'd have it paid.
Yeah, year and a
But you're
half,
gonna have less light.
You're gonna have
Right.
far less light.
right.
But then if you wanna shut some off, you're gonna have,
There would be less light on top of
People aren't
that.
gonna like it. They aren't
No.
So
gonna
what
like it.
I would say, I don't know, if you drive to Venusburg, they have LED lights.
Mhm.
I don't think, like, the light reduction is
It's not
that
dark.
significant. It's not dark at all.
At all in
It's-
Venusburg.
it's
And they have
pretty
all
nice.
LEDs everywhere in
Yes,
Venusburg?
it's all LEDs, yes.
Depends on where they shut them off. Depends which ones you take out. You gotta.
Yeah, well, maybe we don't take any of them out, maybe we just leave them all burning.
Oh,
And-
I gotta take a ride down Enosburg at night and see what it looks like.
Yeah, it's bright.
Road trip.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. And
That-
their lights
so-
are closer.
To get, so that's why I mean, like, we have, like, I have to tell Efficiency Vermont, or
Right,
into the
right,
co-op, this is how many lights we want, we're gonna keep all of them, or
When,
I'd keep them all.
when are they looking for an answer?
I said I was coming to the select board meeting saying this, so I'll just tell them whatever you guys tell me.
I think keep them, shut them off later if you.
Yeah, exactly.
I can inquire about that.
We can, yeah,
I just don't keep them all. I mean,
Yeah, I think we should keep them all, because there are some now that don't have enough light.
Yeah.
Okay.
well,
Then I'll tell them.
if there's some now that don't have enough light, why aren't we complaining to VEC to replace them at the appropriate wattage?
When I see one, I always call, they always
Okay.
replace it.
No, I do too if one is out.
Yeah, I
But,
always call when I see one out.
but if some of the lights are not burning brightly,
Usually they're on or they're off.
The street
Yeah.
for me goes off every half hour for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
really, that needs to be replaced, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah, those
from
need to be
me,
replaced.
From my house, does the same thing.
yeah, and if I'm sitting there watching, all of a sudden it goes out. And I wait, about 5 minutes later it comes back on, and it goes again.
Well, those should be replaced,
And then,
I mean,
Well,
That'll be a better benefit, added benefit of LEDs, they're
Yeah.
they'll last a lot longer.
it'll last forever,
last forever.
almost.
Do you have anything else, Michael?
Well, that's the next step of the process, so if you guys want me to say,
Oh,
just
yeah.
convert all the lights, then I can.
Well, I think that's a big decision here.
Well,
It is a big decision, but I'm for it, but.
I wonder,
I guess I haven't noticed the lights in Enosburg.
I haven't even, I bet you haven't seen it.
It's not dark down there,
No.
so, I mean,
I'm
They have
afraid to
more-
say it.
They have more stuff on Main
I'm gonna
Street
say
too,
table it
so
until,
No, I mean, you're gonna make decisions.
yeah, no, we will make a decision, but, maybe it's something we should wait a month, investigate it in that time, and there'll be
investigate
a
what?
Yeah,
drive to Enosburg, see if it's dark. Check around here, look at Green Avenue
Yeah.
and those two poles and what kind of light they put out.
As far as I'm concerned, you can change them, cause I got a headlight.
Yeah,
I prefer changing them too.
Well, as I said, the one across from my house is out.
If you're not on a timeline, that's different, but you
Yeah.
should not, I don't.
yeah, no, I would say if we waited till the new board comes on and see, I mean, there'll be one new member, it's only a month. It's actually,
March, that's right, today is.
yeah, it's 4 weeks from today, 3 weeks from, no, 4 weeks from today. So,
long time.
I know.
I mean, if you wanna,
What is their deadline? They
They-
should have it.
There's
They
no
don't have
deadline,
it.
I just said,
Yeah, they
this
don't
is the
have a
meeting, I
deadline.
was gonna come and.
Okay.
Right.
why don't you,
We'll think on it.
yeah, why don't you tell us that why don't you tell them that we'd like a month,
Okay.
if that's possible? And I'm sure they'll say that's fine.
We
And,
need to know, like, when they can put them in the house, you know.
yeah,
They
and,
said that's towards the end, they said with COVID, they have a
That's
lot
what I'm
of
saying.
shortages on stuff like
When are they
that,
gonna
so.
start charging us, you know, things
Right.
like that?
They, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I remember that they said they will bill you at the end.
Because we don't have that in the budget this year, you know, we don't have $16,000.
Yeah, they said they don't.
No, but
Maybe they could do
It
it
could
over
be-
a couple of years.
Well,
Split it
The
up.
budget
It-
has, we have to vote on the budget. not-
it could be
Unless-
related to ARPA funding, who knows?
Well, we don't know that.
That's why we'll ask those questions. And if,
And I noticed online, when I'm looking at, I don't know what it's called, people are asking what we're doing with all that money that, yeah, what are we doing with it?
well, I asked
Made any
that it be
decisions yet?
put on the agenda, but, and this is the exact item that, Justin was referring to, that the town doesn't know what's happening with it. There's a
We
mis.
don't have it in our control.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
There is a misconception that we haven't drawn down the 120, and yes, we have. We have authorized
Yes, I know we have.
Kylie to draw that down. That's half. We have 5 years to spend it. We investigated a couple of things. Post office roofs, not COVID related, okay? We talked about vehicles, both an ambulance and a fire truck. Nope, sorry, it doesn't play on that.
Doesn't pay for anything.
It doesn't play on that.
That's all
And-
emergency stuff.
And it has to be,
System.
it has to be a new project too. It can't be maintenance, like we can't use it to replace that
Right.
sewer line out on 105 there. and because that's a replacement that comes from the state. Well, no, you can, you can,
If they say no to everything, we can.
well,
We can use it for our digital billboard out.
yes,
Yep.
that's,
and we
it's
can
going to
use it
that, and it's,
For redoing the heating and cooling system for this building.
that's correct.
Can we
Also
any
for the
other
post
building?
office.
How about for the historical society too?
We might be able to, because
Yeah.
it's all about air qualification, but it would
Right.
have to go
Because that's where this is
to
going to.
being able to be air and.
And also,
I mean, if
some
we could
of,
replace the furnaces in all the buildings, it would be really worth it.
and some of the,
So those qualify.
upcoming water projects.
Right.
Like on Golf Course Road and all of
Because
that.
that's all about cleaning
And because a lot of other municipalities in the state of Vermont are using it for water and sewer projects. So, we just have to decide as a board which way we would like to go forward. And we've come up with a few projects that have been thumbs up, thumbs down,
Well,
and
March, that should be a priority that we put on the agenda is how we're gonna spend this money. Because I don't
Absolutely.
think we have to wait 5 years.
no,
to
no,
spend it.
absolutely not. And
Get it while the getting's
and
good.
we will get another $120,000 in June, I think it
Right,
is.
so we
So-
should be planning now.
Did you bring the
Well-
120 to Stevens Mills and Stevens Mills Slide?
You tell us what you need.
Oh,
She wants that bridge.
I want
Yeah,
my
but
bread
it's on the agenda even,
before somebody goes in the brook.
right?
I wonder if
I-
we can use it for that though, you know?
Well, I wonder if we can use it for streetlights.
To get back on streetlights, I think we should wait and see what happens to our streetscape
Yes, that's
planning
true.
that we have
That's
for River Street, Main Street. They may come up with some different ideas for lights and things.
When will you be getting that back?
Well, the grant will start this year, they'll start working on the planning,
They, Northwest Regional?
yes.
Didn't we do that one year?
Yes, a while back.
Did you
Yeah.
keep, did
They
you
had
keep
those
it?
cutouts in the street.
Yeah.
Did you keep
Like a
it?
shooting range.
No,
There's a guy crossing the street. Yeah,
I've seen a plan where they have cutouts on Main
Yeah,
Street.
they
Yeah.
had cutouts all the way down the street.
absolutely.
Taking up all the
Wasn't that
parking
part of the
spaces.
drainage though? Wasn't that part of
Yeah.
the drainage?
Yeah.
That might have been drawn when they did that bridge
Brownfields.
repair work.
I think it was when they did the brownfields.
Across the street? Oh, okay, could be.
So we need to move on.
Yeah.
To highways, the Coy and Smith roads.
Okay,
Well,
Oh, go
okay,
ahead.
whatever. I was just gonna ask Michael
I'm
for,
sorry, Michael, are
for,
you done?
for an update, if he participated at all in the Economic Development Conference, the virtual conference from the Chamber of Commerce?
I did.
And-
And that was more for like businesses, like
Okay.
really honed-in businesses. There, like, the beginning part was like, this is how the economy's doing in this country. And then they got into like diversity, and there was nothing really for municipalities.
Okay,
or-
that's fine. I
but
just,
I did, yeah.
I just thought it might be valuable to
Oh, yeah.
look at it.
Yeah, sure.
And have you, learned to speak French to talk to the Vela Quebec people?
No, that, not yet, that has not happened.
Okay, well, it's not cycling this time of year anyway,
What
so,
else we do?
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Scott?
On January 5th, we got bids for the Smith Road and McCoy Road culvert replacements. Goodhue Excavating from Fairfield was the low bidder at $267,531.
Can you say that again?
$267,531.
Yep.
It's Goodhue Excavation of Fairfield. They were the low bidder.
And that's Smith Road or both of them?
That's both of them together
Okay.
combined. It's Smith Road and Coy
Coy.
Road culvert replacements.
Great.
We thought it would be easier just to put them both out for bid at the same time, seeing they were both mitigation projects through FEMA from the start. We're basically just trying to push these along to see if we can get help from FEMA on these projects. They suggested we go for mitigation on them, and if that's the case, they end up, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think they pay like 75% of the project. The state pays, I think, 8% or something on top of that, and we're left with the rest. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was, it was a
Pretty
significant
good.
amount.
Yeah.
But either way, we don't know if FEMA's actually gonna come through and do this, so we gotta decide whether we wanna push forward with this and accept the bid And if FEMA doesn't come through with it, then we're gonna be responsible for this $267,000 bid. Would probably have to borrow money sometime this year if FEMA doesn't come through with it and pay
What's
for
your
the.
thought on FEMA?
I feel they're gonna come through with
They've always
it,
come through
but
with it.
I don't know that, you know, I'm pretty discouraged with the way you don't seem to ever get any progress with them, you just.
Well, didn't you say that there would be a greater likelihood if the
we-
projects were spelled out and we
Right.
put them out to bid?
Right, that's why we're.
That would accelerate the FEMA
That's why
process.
we're pushing ahead with them, basically. It's thinking that other towns have done that. The town of Albany, I think it was, had a bridge that they had to do, and they kept mulling it over, and finally they said, well, we gotta do the bridge no matter what, whether FEMA helps us or not. So they put it out for bids, and once FEMA saw what the actual bid price was and what the real costs were gonna be, they pushed it through and accepted it, and FEMA ended up doing the mitigation with them, so.
And these are both drainage type problems?
One of them is the big brook right by her house,
Right.
out Smith Road.
Yeah.
That culvert is washed out, what, 3-4 times at least?
3 times in my cellar.
Really? Well, we're sorry about that.
You weren't
And the
sorry,
one on
right?
Coy Road is just a small brook, but when you get one of those big rain downfalls, it turns to a pretty good sized brook, and that culvert's washed out.
Well-
At least 3 or 4 times probably.
The
that I
reason,
know
the
of.
reason I'm asking is because if FEMA wasn't to move and it was a water project, then it could potentially be ARPA. But I don't
know if
think
ARPA-
that they
ARPA
would do
doesn't
it for
much with
drainage.
the road, highway
Yeah.
stuff. It's
The
more
drainage
sewer,
stuff, right.
drainage, yeah,
Can I say
stormwater.
one more thing on
Yes,
it?
sure.
The last time that my husband woke up and that was being washed out, there was a car coming down the road to go across there. And it's dark over there,
Well, sure.
so,
Need a street light.
Did they stop the vehicle?
well, Andre was out there with his light.
Oh, okay.
If he hadn't been, no, he probably wouldn't have.
And then we would have been,
It's dangerous.
yeah, definitely.
Well, the culvert in there is way undersized for what the brook, you know, the capacity of the brook gets. When you get a downpour up in that mountain, you get some serious water quick. That
Well,
culvert's just way undersized. It's, you know, we gotta do something someday.
yeah. Can we get culverts right now? The supply?
That's the whole idea. We're on a time crunch now, cause this Goodhue says if we don't accept this bid and get it out there, he's gotta put an order in and get this. This is a concrete box culvert,
Okay,
this Smith
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And if he doesn't get his order down to Camp Precast, we're not gonna be getting it this year.
Again,
Okay.
Right. It's to the time now where you gotta get your orders in to get them.
So, you got anything else, Scott?
Well,
Well, that's all I got on that, I guess. If we wanna do more
Well-
discussion on it, or.
I,
You guys?
I think we should extend ourselves. It needs to be done. And
Just
if
keep
FEMA,
pushing forward,
I'd say
hoping-
roll the dice. If FEMA doesn't come forward on it, we need to do it. It's a hazard, it's a,
I think the state does have actual funds too, that you can borrow money from the state. I'd have to do some more checking
Yeah,
on it, but I think
low
the state
interest.
had, yeah, where we could borrow money from them on these types of projects too.
yeah.
We should go ahead with it.
Well, it's not gonna get done if we don't do it, it's the
We
thing.
gotta move.
Well,
And if they're gonna pay 75%, it's definitely a good time to jump on it. If they don't, well, we're left with a full cost.
We've been talking about it since I got on the board, and I've been on the board for 13 years, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the Goodhue,
Accept the Goodhue bid.
accept the Goodhue bid.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
You hear the eyes over here?
Yeah. Got more?
I've got a town highway that's been changed on 911. I don't know if you people are aware of it now. But what used to be Black Falls Road,
Right.
going up the Combs Road, there's a road off to the right that goes up Ronnie Paquette's driveway basically and goes over through to Black Falls. That road has been changed to Cherry Avenue.
Yeah.
parking over there. Oh,
Ridge Road to Cherry Avenue.
And isn't there another one that's red something or other?
This is the only,
Nobody's ever gonna call it that anyway.
Oh, I know.
Black Hills are all.
No,
they said Black Falls
Black
was
Falls.
Yeah.
confusing because Montgomery's got a Black Falls
Right,
road too.
I got you.
They don't have a
Actually,
What's that?
Didn't the two roads used to connect at one time or
They do,
something?
it does go through with a four-wheeler.
yeah,
or
Yeah.
it's just a
something.
trailer. Did you talk to Kim Collins about that? Or she gave you the
She's the one
information?
that dropped this
That's
off.
correct.
She dropped it to Kylie, I guess.
Yeah, she,
Says we approved it back on 9/20/21 and the
That's
state
correct.
approved it 9/29/21, so it's basically a done deal.
absolutely. You just gotta order a sign, huh? A street sign?
You gotta change it to Cherry Avenue.
Big doings, big doings.
Somebody's gonna steal that, like, right off.
Cause there was something else, Redwood or Red Grove or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anything else?
That's all I've got, I
Okay,
guess.
Andy's not here, buildings,
Not much, still waiting on quotes and stuff. So, I'm looking into a quote on re-heating and cooling for this building.
Can you-
So.
Can you check
Michael?
with Miss Dusso? She got a call last week about somebody wants to buy the post office. Okay?
Again?
Well, no, and it's different than the other programs where these people buy the post offices, lease them back to post offices, and
different, yeah.
it's different than the other program, that where they send you the postcard and
Yeah.
you just mail it back that says, no, we don't want to sell our post office right now. But
Better check on it.
she had some interesting information. Obviously, it would have to be reduced to writing, but I think it's something we should look at.
Always open to everything.
Okay, just if you want to check with
Problem is
her.
those, yeah, is it somebody, are they well known, do you?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Are
no,
they- Are they?
they are well known.
Now that
and-
brings up
We're
my
not gonna lose
next
our post
question.
office?
Is the school gonna be ready to move out of there in June? Has anybody heard any?
Not a word.
Hope they're paying rent.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yes,
Yeah.
but the rent we have shown
Yeah.
is not paying the bills.
Yeah.
And Marie had offered not to go halftime on that building. There's a lot of different things that we could be talking about, but I mean, you know, I don't see a lot of work down in the Enosburg building, so I wondered if they were moving.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
Because they
They're
don't
still
allow us
paying
to
their
raise the
rent.
rent, even though the rent's been the same for the past.
Yeah, but we don't have to file an extension.
You can
No, we
raise it.
don't. That's
You
what
can
I
raise
tried
it.
to tell you
It's gotta
last
be
year.
2.6% or something.
Yeah.
That's all it can go up, so they
Yeah,
say.
2.4.
But it isn't a 3-year contract anymore, so I don't know why we can't raise it on a 1-year contract.
Well, I would say you
I'm
can.
not thrilled with the lawyer's advice on that.
And
Is this the same lawyers as
Yeah.
So why don't we get a new
The
lawyer?
one that we.
I don't know why we went to this one. It happened when I was
Because
gone.
the last chairman of the board wanted to switch from Cahill Brown.
Okay,
Who always
yeah,
have done us
yeah.
pretty well.
Yeah, I know, but
We just couldn't get anything down there either.
No, I think they're all,
everything was grinding to
Took
a
me a year
halt.
to get
with-
easements on the
Yeah.
culvert job, and we never did get them.
but you know
Crazy.
something? I've been a year subdividing up on the land and
Yeah.
I keep getting I call them every 2 weeks and I keep getting they're shorthanded, they're working
Yeah.
on it, they got a stat.
Oh, I know.
People with the COVID.
Seems to be
Well,
the
it's-
So
same
many excuses,
everywhere.
nobody wants to work, is basically.
They're closing
And yet-
businesses because they don't have staff. They're closing
Exactly, so it's just a pain all the way around.
schools because they don't have substitute teachers.
But now they have a deadline, so they have to have it done to,
Yeah.
before March.
Okay.
Okay, so, I don't have much except.
I do have a personnel thing to report on. We did
Oh, okay.
lose our, we
Yeah,
lost
I was
our
gonna ask if you wanted to go into
we
it,
lost
okay.
our new man, and now we've got a new part-timer.
Oh, do you want to talk
The-
about it now or in executive?
It's the same part-time guy we hired back.
Oh, so we
3
don't
weeks
have
ago, a
anybody
month ago.
new?
Somebody left, that's all.
I know.
Our new one
I
left, and our
settled
new part-timer is basically full-time temporary now.
in.
He was full-time last week because it snowed, you know.
No, he's never worked for us
Oh.
before,
Okay.
but he seems to be pretty decent.
So what's the status here? What are we doing?
Should be
What are
hiring
we
another
doing?
guy.
We need to hire
Do
another
we need to
person.
go into executive session? Do we need to?
No, we just need to hire a guy sometime, a full-time
We
person.
put out an ad again, or? I didn't know the
We
guy.
gotta hire somebody to replace me this spring.
Spring.
She's over there smiling, but yes, finally.
No.
Just something to think about.
Yeah.
Help.
So you have somebody that's
Well, we're good right now,
good right now, okay.
Who molds up our lawn?
except when somebody's sick or somebody goes on vacation.
Now, is everybody back to work that was sick?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was scary to see a lot of stuff in that storm, other communities that are only operating at 50% on their, like you
We
were,
were only
but, you know.
50%. There was two of us
But-
doing 4 routes.
Yeah,
I didn't see much of him.
and
That's okay.
that's a complaint, I was wondering if that was a,
I have a dog to talk to.
Hometown Village is March 18th
yes.
here. Anybody got any other business?
I
Uh,
got a couple questions.
Okay. just a second.
I have a few things, yeah.
Go ahead, Jim, and then I'll go.
No, go ahead, you can go to
Okay,
Carl.
go ahead.
I just wondered, does anybody put any more thought into the garbage thing? Where is that? We're supposed to have meetings, I didn't hear anything about
I'll
that.
let Jim answer.
I don't think that we're ready to move on it yet. We're still internally trying to decide.
So this is that inactivity thing you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, this will be it seems that we would like to spend the $2,500 to have an election, a supplemental election, and/or there is a primary election this summer that we could get it on the ballot for a charter change, if that was to pass. We'd have to extend the current agreement another 2 quarters till the end of the year. But
So the whole board voted on this?
no, we're going through the process right now of determining, I can make a motion right now that we try to get a charter change to eliminate the trash collection.
Well, I'd
If
like to
it's-
have a discussion on it. So if you wanna have a charter change, you're gonna have the people in the town vote to get rid of the village people's garbage.
That's why I'm
That's
not,
wrong.
that's why I'm not ready to discuss it yet, because once again, I'm waiting for a legal opinion as to who votes on the change.
These lawyers we've had, we've been talking about this with them for a year,
Yes, we
and
have.
they haven't given us an answer.
How come?
They gave us a conflicting opinion.
Yeah.
They said that the charter says it's a special district issue, and then later in the same opinion, they said that since it's a charter change, the entire town should vote on it. I agree with Carl, it should just be the special
People will
district.
lose it. Why should it be people that don't?
And if that's the case, when we have an election, then whoever's checking in the people, it'll be a paper
I
ballot.
know, you
and
have
they-
to say it'll be a separate ballot.
And they have to tell us their address as it is on the
Yeah.
voter rolls, and they can't lie, it's an official thing.
And so just the village will vote on it.
And just the village would vote on it, which we could do. And if it didn't pass, then the next item would be anybody's guess. Carl knows, we've talked about a number of different things. We can't totally release it to a hauler because the charter says we have to control it. We have to provide the service. And by just setting the rates, they're saying that's not enough of an influence. The attorneys, again.
These
Okay.
attorneys, these
Yes,
new
our
that
attorneys.
have done so much.
Yeah.
So it's my understanding the board had a vote a while ago, a year or two ago, to get rid of the service?
They didn't vote to get rid of it.
We didn't vote on it, no.
I think we just
We
were
just-
They sought
exploring
opinions.
options, I
No, it never
guess.
got voted on.
And that's the opinion that I work off of, that was the original one. I've had subsequent conversations with Kristen
Yes.
Shamus. And so that's the question. If it was to go away and we just allowed everyone to get their own hauler, which would probably be the case, and there's people right now that aren't using the system, and there's not trash piling up all over town. I would be,
What was piling up?
Didn't you guys just pay a bunch of money to get rid of garbage over by Liberty Street a year ago?
I don't know
Did
if
you
that,
guys,
And a couple times
Yeah.
we paid to get rid of garbage down, we've had a garbage day down at the, well, where the old town barn used to be down there across from.
Yeah, but that didn't cost the townspeople anything. That was donations and,
right.
Right.
And we had special collections down behind the old Mayhews.
No, people
Couple
are
of times.
throwing their trash out.
Well,
well, yeah, but that, again.
so we have a system now and they're throwing the trash out, so,
Well, because these people aren't being forced to adhere to it. They're not, nobody's following up and saying, hey, why aren't you paying your trash? Or putting it on their bills or whatever they, I don't know if they
Well, I
can.
think people outside of the village have to come up with their own trash hauler, and I don't see where it's any worse outside of the village than it is in the village,
Right.
personally.
Because they voted at the village cabinet, that's the
Well, I
reason.
think-
no, you mean the dumping or the?
Right, the
But
dumping.
just, yeah, trash left
Yeah.
outside the road or in
And
the
we have-
garage
People
or
aren't
whatever.
like they
And we
used to be.
have
They
had-
touches
And then again, it would be a zoning issue then that you're
Right.
gonna have to enforce,
And-
right?
I can't begin to keep up with the trash now.
Well, we've,
And nobody pays any attention to the letters, and I'm sure you don't want everyone going to court, the money that would cost the
Yeah,
town.
no.
Are most of these that don't pay, don't use that, are they tenants or are they homeowners?
Well, no, homeowners, I think, are giving the tenants stickers. It's, I don't know, nobody keeps track.
well, yes, we do, but I don't wanna take out that list because I was
Well, you could
called
tell
out
us-
on
you
it
could
earlier.
Say how many.
you were
people
called
are
out
on
on it, Tim, because you called me out for something that wasn't even a bill. I got the bill right here.
Well, just an approximate, you know.
See,
Yeah, just tell us how many
to
people.
solve the issue, then everybody gets their own trash hauler, you wouldn't have to worry about that.
Oh, I would be,
Yeah, but they
you know,
wouldn't, that's the problem.
That's
I would be in heaven, and I don't mean I'd be
But it
dead.
seems like everything in Richford's losing money and we wanna get rid of everything. The post office, the garbage, the ambulance, what's?
Yeah, but why does the town of Richford need to own that post office building?
Because they voted to buy it.
When they
That's what
bought
the
it,
post
that
office
was the
leaving.
deal, was
Yeah,
to
I
put
could
the
see
new
buying
roof
it
on
for a year or two to get somebody else in it that wants it
Because they
and
were
take
gonna
care of it.
leave
I don't know
Richford,
why it
right?
has to be a burden on the town. My own
Wasn't that the
personal
only-
view.
Well, then you got the library that's a burden on the town, you got the.
Yeah, but that library is
is
a whole lot cheaper to maintain than that post office building. The library's a house. Anybody can take care of a house. Not anybody can take care of that post office building.
Were you on the board when they got the post office?
No, that was way before my time.
But didn't they get it to keep the post office in town? I wasn't.
They
Right, they bought it,
Keep it here.
right,
Yes.
to keep
With
it
the
in
intent
town.
to sell it later on.
Right, it just never happened. It just,
But
Right, we wanna
It's the
keep the
same
post
thing.
office in
We just
town.
don't want to sell it to somebody, we should have some restrictions that it doesn't become a, you know, an
Right.
eyesore.
But it's been losing money since you bought it.
Yeah.
The garbage thing's been losing
we-
money
we
because
rent it
nobody's
for-
put any
for
work
nothing.
into it. Nobody maintained the garbage thing to,
That's probably why the town doesn't need it.
you know what it's like. You were a selectman. You're just
Oh,
a
I do
volunteer
stuff. I do.
person here. You just,
But-
you're not like you're a paid employee to be here and work 40 hours a week
Yeah.
to try to solve these problems. You're doing it a night here, a night there, an hour here, an
I
hour
agree,
there.
Scott, but if you look back in the things and you see where nobody has changed anything and it's stayed the same, and you lose money the day, year one, and you lose money every year, then we finally start making some money, cause people are paying their bills, then
But
there's
like,
another big increase, and so with this increase, we're gonna go back into the red.
well,
You got a number of people that don't pay, how many don't?
oh,
pay?
I get,
Maybe that's where
This-
the town manager could help
oh,
follow through with some
absolutely,
of this stuff.
absolutely. Well, I'll just say that the back two pages are both
Town administrator.
residences and landlords, and there's 78 names on there that owe a minimum, I'm sorry, that would be, what did I say, 78? It would be 77, because we know Carl paid his bill.
Okay, so.
And
You got
so
outdated information, first of all.
there's 78 names,
Let's round it off, there's 70 people that
78
haven't paid
names
their
that owe at least $200 right now,
bills. Okay,
okay?
142,000.
And the highest though
yeah, there's a lot more.
is, there's some landlords on here that owe almost 6,000 on two different properties, 4,000 on two other properties. One's a homeowner, both of them are homeowners. There's 6 names here with over 3,000, and so on. It's,
So let's say there's a, like a.
and I know, Carl, you've been doing a lot of work on this, I know, and going back over the years. And the biggest problem with the system is that on years when it comes up short, and I know you found a fair amount of
Oh,
those.
definitely.
And the funding to make it whole comes out of the general fund, and that's not appropriate. That
Well,
makes the
why is it
townspeople.
appropriate for the post office to be taking it out of the hole? Why is it appropriate
Well, because
for
the
everything?
post office serves the entire town. The trash service only serves the special district. That's the
I think
issue.
it serves the whole town, Tim. Because if you got garbage thrown in the river, thrown in the woods, parking lots, it will happen.
Oh,
Yeah, but that system doesn't pay for any of that or cover any of that. That's above and beyond
Right.
table.
Nobody can
And the
give me
reason-
an exact number, how much the town pays on the village garbage. Nobody can give me a number.
Kylie can give you that number.
No, she can't. I asked her.
I was there when you asked her for
And
it.
she told me that she didn't have time to go back and figure it out, which I'm sure she doesn't. And I said, well, I started doing it. I said, she goes, well, but you have to hire somebody to do it. I mean, you were right there when she said it. Because I started doing it, and
Why don't you finish?
I didn't have time. I could come
Well,
back
there
to
you
that.
go, you got these people sitting here that do not have time, they're not putting
They
it
chose to be,
24/7.
they chose to be in that spot. I didn't choose
Well,
to be in that spot.
It's a no-win situation, it seems like every time you guys try to discuss something.
Well,
But my concern is, nothing's changed in the system. It's only been,
things have changed in the system, that it's not being funded from the general fund in the most recent past years, is because neighbors are paying for neighbors' trash.
Well, yeah, you've lost-
That we raise the rates to make the system self-sustaining. And by doing that, you might be paying your neighbor's trash at $88 because they haven't paid. And they refuse to
$88 is
pay.
still a good deal for me.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah, absolutely.
So if you have 142,000 on the books, nobody's paid that 142,000.
Nobody will.
No.
Not ever. That's the receivable. The only way you can collect it, and that's what I said, in my opinion, it's a paper receivable. Okay? However, the hauler gets paid based on the number of stickers that are issued. But stickers aren't issued to these people, so once they go past one period, they don't get more stickers. So everybody that has $200 or $300, $400, whatever, they're not accumulating stickers. So we're not paying the hauler for those customers because they're not getting stickers. We
Unless
pay
they're
by
getting
the
them
sticker.
from somebody else.
Well, yeah, of
But
course,
they're paid for
but
if they're from somebody else.
At one
the
point,
stickers that
at
are
one
out
point,
are
they were
paid
getting
for.
stickers till we
Yeah.
stopped putting out more
Stop putting
stickers.
out.
Right.
Right.
But the stickers that are out are paid for, okay? And
Just
those costs.
Another note of interest, Tim.
Yep,
In the budget for the solid waste, it's $2,300.
Yep.
The town of Richford, the people in the special service district pays. That's for the whole town of Richford.
that is correct.
And it's per capita, it's $1 per person.
Yeah, it's
So
going
the
up.
people-
It's
going up to
$1.10 now.
$1.10.
Yep.
So the people in the special service district is paying that for the whole town. So you add that up
I
for
guess.
20 years.
They're paying that, or the whole town's paying?
No, the special service
Special
district.
services
'Cause
district?
we pay it to the
I
solid
think the
waste.
town of Richford has
You
to
don't
pay
pay
for
it,
the
though.
townspeople.
I don't
No,
think.
we pay it in the solid waste.
Yeah, but the town of Richford has to pay
Right.
solid waste for
We
me
do.
to go dump garbage.
We do. Because people in the village pays that for everybody.
Right.
I'm not,
Then it's
and
going to
I,
2,500, 2,580 something dollars. Because it's going up $1.10 per person. So that's a.
it's not going up
increase.
$1.10, it's going up 10 cents.
Right,
Going up
it's
to
going
$1.
up
Up
to
to
$1
$1.
for 2,584 bucks.
Right.
So the people, 390 people in the village are paying that for the whole town. And they've been doing it since we've been paying this.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
I
not
don't
a
know,
total wash for the people.
I would think everybody in the town would be paying.
I would too, but I gotta check it with the clerk as
It's
to
right
see
here
how
in the
she
budget,
assigns
you
it.
look at the solid waste.
Well, I know that, but I don't
You were there
under,
when me and Kylie talked about it.
yeah, but again, I don't necessarily agree with everything that Kylie tells me, and she knows that. And I think she's doing a phenomenal job, but
So it comes out of the special services district and not out of the general fund, or not out of the,
Out of the
Well,
solid waste budget.
yeah.
yeah,
this-
but that alone comes out of just
Yes.
the
That's what Kylie told me.
special
She
services
goes, so
district?
I
you would
think-
have to
I think
figure
that's
it,
correct.
like, $1,500 would be the town and like,
We'd just do
percentage being the
it, we'd do it on the population, and we'd take that 2,300 out. It wouldn't affect your rates, because your rates
it's
are,
not gonna affect the rates, but the people in
That's my
the
dead dog.
village is paying it for the town. It's not a big deal, it's
no,
not
I
a large
understand.
amount of money.
I understand.
but It's
I
not a
understand.
total wash for the
No, that's
people
fine.
living in the town if you look at the whole.
That's fine.
I would just think that the whole town would pay it.
That's what I
You
thought
know?
when I found
Well,
this.
and that's what I would
So then
recommend,
questioned her and I
which
called
we
it
could
solid
do.
waste, And he told me it's $1 per person, and it's going up in July,
Right.
$1.10.
Right.
So it'd be $2,500. So I think
Is
there's a
there
lot of
another
room.
place where the town is getting charged to pay the solid waste?
Everybody in Franklin County pays it except for one town, Fairfax, they're not in it. If you don't wanna pay it, you gotta provide hazardous waste collections for your town. But I do see their trucks come to the schools every week.
That's for the
So they do.
composting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a broken system. And
It's a broken system, Tim, it's like the post office. You keep doing the same thing every year, and you don't get no different results, and nobody overhauls it to get a different result. Like with the new
Well-
increase of the rates, $16 per person, that's $6,000 a year. If that all goes to John, then he's gonna be almost 30,000.
16, you'd lost me on
So
those
$4 a month, $4 a quarter.
quarter, yeah.
$16
a year.
a year for 390 customers. is
Yeah, it's not
64.
390 though, because if they're not actively
Kylie
paying their
told me
stickers, they,
390.
well, but if they're not paying for their stickers, the meter's running, but they're not getting stickers, so
Okay,
John
this is
doesn't
the
get
same
paid
as
for it.
these other people we're talking, you're getting different information from the same building.
Okay, I don't know, then I don't know the answer, okay? I'll try to
Apparently,
find it
there's
out
no
for you.
answer, Tim. You have different answers than everybody else.
Okay, then, okay.
Any other business?
Yeah, a couple of things. We need to approve the minutes from the January 20th meeting, and we need,
Who was out there?
no, that would be the December 20th meeting, I think.
That's the one that we were all there, so.
Yeah, we had to table that because it was just you, me, and Scott wasn't at the last meeting. So, the December 20th meetings, which I got a copy right here if you want, Scott.
Yeah, just look it over.
It's pretty short and sweet.
Make a motion, we, you wanna wait, read it?
I was under your chair, Tim.
Yeah, I gotta keep it on a string around my neck.
Did you say a noose or a string?
Yeah, I did say string, but, you know, it's implied. 20 and 12/20.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept them.
Okay, that's
I'll second it.
been moved and,
All those in
second.
favor?
Aye. You don't vote because you weren't there, that's why we tabled it, so it's a 3-0 approval. And then January 20th, which was postponed from the 17th,
Right.
which is the most recent meeting before this one.
Were we all there?
We were all there.
I wasn't,
Swap
was
was
I?
on.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Me,
We were on the
Andy,
budget
Sherry, yeah, me, Andy, Sherry, and you weren't there.
All right, the three of us will, I make a motion, we pass that one. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye,
We all caught up?
and yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Couple of things, and I will make it quick. We touched a little bit about on the ARPA funding, and it's really, we need to be pushing forward, all of us in our areas of responsibility or whatever, to see what potential applications can come from that fund. There is, Kylie had sent along a tutorial probably 6 months ago, 7 months ago, and it spells out the types of things that it can be used for, but everybody, the state and VLCT is warning people that it's not clear yet. They don't know what they're gonna give money to. Although it's starting to break down, Burlington City Council yesterday appropriated $2.5 million to do affordable housing in Burlington. And it's gonna be Arpa funding, is what they've been told. So I think it's the big fish make more noise, and they get clarification quicker, kind of like the FEMA stuff. But I think we need to start pushing to spend. We have 120,000 in hand. We get the other 120,000 this summer, and
We're gonna have to for.
and there's additional monies that could be available based on the pool. But if we wait till the end, the pool's empty.
My question is this, is it up to the town clerk, is it up to the select board what we spend this money on?
Well, I think it'd be a joint conversation on a
Oh,
lot
why
of
haven't we
things.
had it, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's-
If the money's.
I think
Because-
they're waiting for clarification on how to spend it, is what
Right.
I think is
Well,
what's been going on.
where do we get that clarification?
Well, that's what's been coming down the pike.
Right,
Bits and
it's
pieces of
just
it.
starting to come now.
Yeah.
And like I said, the different places in the state are trying to attach themselves
Yeah.
to it now. But it's not a done deal. You know,
No, I know.
Burlington Council can pass anything they want. They don't have the money in hand.
Right.
So I just think we need to be forward-thinking on it. And we have proposed a couple of things, and we're recommended that they would not pass. Expenses at the post office, the culvert at 105, because it was a replacement, it wasn't a new project.
Right.
They tend to favor new projects, and I think that's how Burlington got, they didn't talk about rehabbing existing affordable housing.
No.
They're talking about all brand new.
They've got a lot more people.
So,
For like this building would qualify, this is a town building, plus we have our meetings here.
Right.
But to have different zoning, a
Right.
heating system, a cooling system,
Right.
like central air kind of thing, and have it zoned, so like when we're upstairs, it can be
You can
air
use the
filtered
upstairs,
out.
yeah.
Right.
You can use it, have it heated, but I also, we need insulation in the ceiling.
Can you
and the
use
roof.
this money for like all these town buildings for new furnaces and things like that?
I think,
Because
I
I
don't know
think
about
they all need 'em.
furnaces, but central air, because it's more of an air purification.
air handling as opposed to
Yeah.
Furnaces.
heat generation.
So that's what I'm trying to get focused on.
There's a fine line there,
There
yeah.
was fire coming out of the one of the historical society that
Oh.
Yeah, that one needs.
And it's not a wood stove.
Actually, McCollister called me and he was filling up and he said there's flame shooting out of the furnace, so I called John and he took care of it.
Nice.
I know.
Glad he looks in the window.
I don't know how, he must have, yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's pretty
It
good,
might
at- he's
probably
pretty good at that
flashing,
stuff.
caught his
Yep.
eye.
Well,
Yeah.
the fuel barrel's in by the furnace.
Right.
Yeah.
He has to go in,
Yeah.
he has to go in by the furnace to fill the barrel.
And he filled it up and he called me.
And the other item that I have, and I sent you a request on it, Andy had sent you a request on it, we really need to define the town administrator role. And I'd be happy to draft a general document, provided for adjustments to all of the different departments, as a matter of
We
fact.
don't have on the ballot town administrator.
We don't have to have it on the ballot. It's in the.
Did we
It's in the
vote?
budget.
It's in the budget. We budgeted $40,000 in an admin salary increase and $20,000 in EDC salaries. So that's 60. And we have verification of $20,000 from two sources for the first 2 years. So that would be over and above the budget
So the town
amounts.
is not gonna vote on whether to have an administrator.
No, if they approve the budget, it's in there. And that was how everybody else in the county does it. And again, and that was recommended, we had Paul Costello here, and Tim Smith, and
Tim Smith, I agree with it.
we can talk about it.
I just feel that local government is getting more complicated all the time, and it, you know, it's just, they proved it tonight, it's hard for the select board to keep up with it, you know, it's just.
Right, we need some.
Well, that's the administrator will
I
keep
know,
up with
I
it,
know,
yeah, that's
I
the
know,
perfect thing,
It'll definitely help,
yeah.
do research and keep you in touch with
I
things
have
a
no
little
problem
better.
doing research, but like this garbage thing that you're caught in this little loop with, I was in this loop 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I was in the
It's like, I
loop
get answers
3
from
years
this,
ago
I get
before
answers
that.
from this, and then answers from this,
Yep.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. What are you gonna do when one lawyer tells you one thing, and then the state tells you something different, and then you go back to the lawyer, and they basically
Well, I'll
say
tell you, and I don't
things
care if
around
it
the
goes
loop.
on video or not, since the past 2 years since we've had this lawyer, we haven't progressed at all. We have, we've evicted people before, I'm not saying who the lawyers are, but my God, it's, everything is like, stop and wait. I realize we've had COVID, but it's been a few months. And
I agree.
what were people doing during COVID? Weren't they working anyway? Weren't they in the offices working?
No,
I guess not.
My granddaughter's a tax accountant, and she had to be working even though she wasn't,
She worked from home.
yeah, she had to work from home. I just don't get why
Right.
the courts are so backed up and why the,
I guess, well, no, they've had virtual courts too.
well,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I mean, they have prisoners come by phone now.
My
Right.
daughter adopted 2 children on virtual court.
I mean,
Very
I
nice.
just don't get why everything so far, people just were sitting there doing nothing. So, I
You
don't
gave them an excuse.
know. Did.
I had one other thing, and it's way off topic from all this. Coming in March is dog registrations, okay? We started to have a
Census.
census done,
Yeah.
and I understand that, and talk about tabling things. We
Well,
just,
I have advertised and nobody will do it. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to go to strange people's houses and knock on the door and say, how many dogs do you have?
so what is this board's responsibility with that? Is it a state mandate that we know how many dogs are
We're
here?
supposed to do it, but if we can't find anybody. Anything you're interested in?
No,
Okay. See, that's
no.
the answer I get from
Well,
everybody.
no, but the reason I was asking is because I'm coming to was going through the process
Well, yeah,
to
some people are
register
honest. Yeah.
a new puppy that I just got, and I have to, she's getting her rabies
Well,
shot
you
later
go to
this
the town
month, and,
market,
yeah.
You do it,
And-
what you're supposed to do.
Right, but she started out doing something.
Who did? Oh,
Our
well, I
animal
gave it
control
over.
officer.
She's got one sheet of people she checked,
So,
and most of them were registered.
Okay,
When I
but-
looked at it, they were all registered, there was maybe one that wasn't.
but that's good, that's a start of a census. I don't know what road it is,
It was one sheet,
okay,
I can find it.
but,
She handed it in last year, unless I gave it to, I might have given it to her, I'll have to look.
and I don't know, but, some of it can certainly be an optic review. If you drive around and see dogs in a yard that are chained in a yard, then you take down the address and come here and see if they're registered.
We can, yeah, and people can say it's a visitor and all that, we've been,
Well-
we had somebody before that did the dog census and paid her, didn't do anything. We had no way of knowing she didn't go to the houses.
Well, we also had originally it was a constable responsibility, and then Larry got in there and said he wasn't gonna do
Don't
it.
that anymore,
And then
you can't force people to do,
what's again, the definition of the constable, and this was brought up to me the other day. Is it not state law that the constable can enforce any town ordinances?
well, they can enforce them,
Oh, Richford.
Not in Richford.
why, because we have the sheriff.
You guys took all the legal power away from it. Cause that's
Can we-
what he came to one of the board meetings for, and there is no legal power for anything. He was getting phone calls to go down to the park and different things, and which he has, but as soon as somebody says no, the only thing he has is, I'll call the cops. You know, cause he has no power, he can't find anybody, he can't do anything, that position
Well,
doesn't have anything.
Can we reestablish that position
If
so
you
that
do
it?
that, you have to then send them to the police academy
Yeah, they have to do
to.
that.
No, I'm not talking about power of arrest.
No,
No,
power
they
of
have to go to the
ticketing.
police academy, that's why we changed it.
Yeah, they have to
Because
go
that
to the police
person wouldn't
academy.
go.
Please disregard last transmission.
No, we looked, we
We
guys
all
looked
looked
into
it
that
up,
at
we've
one point in time.
talked about this for a long time.
Again, it's just,
We had one that wouldn't go to the police academy, so
I
then
know.
we changed it.
and we had one that was through the police academy
Right.
once that
But
Garrett,
Yeah,
whatever
then
his
he
name was.
gone. I can't
He was
remember
a
his last name.
corrections officer. I
You're
don't,
not gonna get a person to do that for free because of
No.
police
no,
academy.
People
Up to
are
12
working,
weeks now.
Yeah.
but the town would pay for it.
But
Right, but
you
you need
can't
a
take 12
paycheck.
weeks up from your job
Right, you
Right.
can't take 12 weeks off
for
of a
the
full-time
chance you
job.
might serve
gotcha.
paper.
I
And
gotcha.
can still have him serve papers, he still, yes,
Yes,
he still serves
serving papers is one of the basically only
Yeah.
the thing they can do.
Okay, but serving papers from who?
Us,
Anybody.
So if
we
we,
pay him $35 every time he has to serve.
so if we find a violation in a ordinance,
Yeah, you serve papers for you guys.
okay, so what I'm saying
It's
is,
like
why
evictions or-
don't we do that? No, but anything. I mean, I got a stack of ordinances like this, like even the parking ordinances and stuff. We've taken it upon ourselves, or the highway department has taken it upon themselves to flyer these vehicles that are parking on the
I
street.
used him, I've hired
Okay.
him to
Yeah,
do.
a lot of landlords have actually used
Yeah.
them.
I've
So-
used him for different things for the
Okay.
town, not for myself, but for the town.
Yeah.
So when these ordinance problems crop up, just call him,
Yep.
and he has to have a formal letter from the
He
town?
has- Yeah, and he takes it, he
So he
serves
takes
it.
it and he serves it, and if they sign, they
Yeah,
sign
he
it,
has
he's
a-
got it, but if they don't sign it, he puts refusal of signature.
Well, like those people that were encroaching on the town land up on,
Yeah, you went and saw
He
them.
went.
okay, all right, good. Then, now I learned something today. That's one of those informational points that the town should know. Because the town employee stopped me the other day and brought it up.
Did he want us to serve some papers? Or-
Well, he was curious as to why we don't enforce the ordinances with the constable.
He can't ticket though,
No, that's okay.
so the only thing he can do is serve a paper if you guys do a paper, if the select board does a paper or zoning does a paper.
We
he
say,
can serve
we
that.
say that you're in violation of Richford
Right.
Town Ordinance
Yeah,
such
he
and
serves- he
such,
can serve it.
and,
Generic letter, bam,
yeah. Okay,
Carl will be told next events kind of thing.
I
Yep.
wanna just go into executive session for a second, I make a motion.
Can I take, you want me to take the keys?